and little 5 points earlier this week. A news conference set for this afternoon at the site of that deadly crash. WSB will be monitoring. Now to Sandy Springs.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The amendment is adopted.
A new safety action plan is passed. City council members say it's an effort to end traffic deaths involving drivers, pedestrians, bicyclists, and transit riders by the year 2040. The plan includes more crosswalks, sidewalks, and traffic calming areas. Data shows more than 27,000 wrecks were reported in Sandy Springs over the past 5 years. Some unsupervised teenagers are leaving a huge mess at movie theaters across the country, and Metro Atlanta is no exception.
It's happening during the final moments of the popular Minecraft film when a character known as the Chicken Jockey appears. Brant Gully owns the Springs Cinema and Tap House in Sandy Springs and says as soon as that moment hit during a jam-packed showing, chaos ensued.
Kids with air horns, 100+ people throwing their full containers of popcorn, throwing pizza.
It's become a viral moment on social media.
It probably took 3.5 hours initially to get that auditorium clean.
Gully says he wants parents to get involved. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
For the first time in more than 20 years, Morris Brown College recognizes outstanding students in an honors convocation. Today's ceremony marks the first such honors awards event since Morris Brown regained accreditation in April of 2022. College president Dr. Kevin James says it's a day to honor academic excellence, greatness, service, leadership, and perseverance. Awards to be handed out include a President's Honors, Dean's List recipients, and Brownite Honors, recognizing academic achievement and community service. Morris Brown is the only college in Georgia founded solely by and for African Americans. Cheryl Castro, 95.5 WSB. All right, today is the last day to register for a program that provides intensive college prep for metro area students and helps further future teachers, I should say, get their start. It's called Breakthrough Atlanta, and it provides a tuition-free college prep program starting in middle school. Monique Shields says the program also gives college students some classroom experience.
They help us to serve 500 middle and high schoolers every year, and then also about 60 college students through our teaching fellowship.
She says there is a desperate need in Metro Atlanta as school districts are down about 600 teachers. They were down 600 teachers at the start of the school year. The deadline to register for this program is tonight. You can register at breakthroughatlanta.org. Now to Rome. Pope Francis meeting with a group of about 70 doctors and staff today who helped him during his stay in the hospital recently.
Grazie. E grazie per tutto quello che avete fatto.
The Pope was hospitalized for 38 days for a respiratory infection that resulted in bilateral pneumonia. The Pope expressed his gratitude and personally greeted them, saying that he would be praying for them and ask for their prayers in return. President Trump meeting with Japan today. The topic, tariffs and trade.
President Trump says in a social media post he'll attend a meeting today at the White House with officials from Japan to try to work out a trade deal. This is the first known meeting the president has been involved in. His administration has said he wants to be personally engaged in these trade talks. The White House says they're close to trade deals with nearly 15 countries but haven't provided details, saying they want to let these talks play out. The president has paused his stiff, sweeping tariffs on countries around the world for 90 days to let these negotiations play out. But the president told me if deals are not worked out by that point, the tariffs will go back into effect. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
And retail sales rose 1.4% last month. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow's down 183 at 40,185. So the Dow's down almost 0.5%. NASDAQ's down more than 2%. And the S&P is in the red, down more than 1% here on your lunch hour. Time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. We start with Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Well, some better news if you're taking 85 north or to 400 north, maybe heading up to Buckhead. The earlier crash we had where a truck lost his trailer on the 85 north ramp to 400 north, that is all now on the left shoulder. Everything back open there, so the delays have improved. Heading southbound, a little sluggish, 75, 85 southbound, leaving the 17th Street area down to North Avenue. Still had that construction that's been in the right lane on Peachtree Road, northbound at Farr Road in Buckhead. That is slowing you back toward East Wesley, and slow on the West Freeway, 20 eastbound from Riverside Parkway over past Fulton Industrial Boulevard. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It is time now for Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast, sponsored by Shoemate, the official air conditioning of Atlanta. Here's WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards.
Blue skies and sunshine today, high 71. Sunset just after 8 o'clock. Temperature still in the upper 60s at that time, but cooling down to the mid-40s for tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, sunshine, a little warmer, high 76. Heating up on Friday, morning low 52, afternoon high 84. Saturday, partly cloudy, morning lows in the low 60s, daytime high high 85, and very warm on Easter Sunday. Morning low 64, afternoon high 87.
Sunny skies, 63 degrees here in Midtown Atlanta. More news at 12:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Greetings, America. Welcome. It is Erick Erickson here across the country. I'm glad to have you with me. The phone number is 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, if you will subscribe to the show notes, you text DATA to 33777. Just a reminder this week that we are focusing on Holy Week, not on politics, and it might do you some good to read those things. Text DATA to 33777. I've got to begin with a story. It is relevant to the news headline of the day that we're actually discussing. But yeah, I got to give you proper context because I've been trying very hard to figure this out. My son and I got invited a few weeks ago to go do the training simulator of an Airbus A320 by some fine folks who they invited us to come up, and it's the professional one that the pilots actually train in, that put lots of hours in it. It is very realistic. And I want to play for you what it sounds like when a commercial jet is over the runway and landing. And you're going to hear it count down in feet above the runway. And when it gets about 30 feet above the runway, it's going to say something you need to hear. I had no idea that a commercial jetliner did this.
50, 40, 30, 20, retard.
Yes, that's the commercial jetliner. That's what happens when you're about 20 to 30 feet above the runway. That's what it says. People don't like me to use that word on the radio, so from henceforth, we're going to refer to people being 30 feet above the runway. And you will know what I'm talking about. It will be our inside joke. Thus, I can begin with the news story of the day. By the way, that's French for slow down. The Airbus is a French is the international diplomatic language. The Airbus says that is your sign to slow down. If it says it a third time, it's talking about you. It says it twice to tell you to slow down because that's the French word for slow. But what we are going to say from here on out is that people are 30 feet above the runway. As opposed to using the R word, we can just say they're 30 feet above the runway. The Democrats are 30 feet above the runway. The Democratic Party of the United States of America is 30 feet above the runway. How do I know, ladies and gentlemen? How do I know? What is the number one issue in America that Donald Trump is polling like outstanding home run, grand slam, the best polling that Donald Trump has on what issue? Immigration. In fact, Donald Trump is polling so well on immigration that it's no longer a top 5 issue in the minds of Americans. He's secured the border. He's rounding up the illegal gangbangers. He's throwing them out of the country. In fact, they've been working so hard to throw illegal aliens out of the country that Donald Trump is now asking ICE to slow it down in the agricultural sector and in the industrial sector. Why? Because a lot of farmers are losing laborers at a time they need some harvesting. It is, for example, in Georgia. You go down to Georgia. In fact, I was down in Swainsboro, Georgia with my son on Monday. It is onion harvesting season, and you got it smells like a fantastic Vidalia onion. Vidalia onions grow only in one part of the country, and that part of the country is about an hour and a half southeast of me in the clay and sandy soil mix of Vidalia, Georgia. They're named for Vidalia, Georgia. I'm on the radio down there. They are wonderful people, and right now their entire community smells like sweet onion, and I love the smell. All I wanted was onion rings the other day. We were out in the onion pastures and onion fields, and I'm like, could use me some fried onion rings right now. Mine, not the ones you get at the store. Mine are better. Well, the farmers are having a hard time getting harvesters because many of them are day laborers, and a lot of those happen to be illegal aliens. The Trump administration is slowing down. They've been so successful rounding people up and deporting them. A lot of people are just self-deporting, and in self-deporting, they are they're not showing up for farm work. They're not showing up for construction jobs, and so the Trump administration is now actually is insisting we're going to slow this down. If you have good workers and you need to protect those workers, you need to let us know. That's the president. That's not me. The president is doing this. Some Trump supporters are mad at the president for now slowing down in these sectors of the economy, but they kind of have to if we want the harvest taken care of. Frankly, they're going to have to slow down because it's not just illegal Hispanic illegal aliens who are deporting. It is legal day laborers who've come into the country on visas for agriculture work who are scared to come in. They're thinking they're going to get rounded up. So the Trump administration saying, whoa, we'll slow this down here. So number one issue that Donald Trump is doing well on is immigration. And he's doing so well on it, it's now not a top 5 concern for Americans. The number one issue Donald Trump is doing poorly on, the economy. In fact, there's a lot of amplification of some polling out there about how great Donald Trump is doing. But if you take the Real Clear Politics polling average, and before you say, but the polling's all right, the polling's all right, y'all love the polling in 2024 because it showed you Trump was winning all those polls. The New York Times did a poll. It showed you Donald Trump was beating Kamala Harris. The Real Clear Politics average showed you he was beating Kamala Harris. The Nate Silver 538 average showed you he was beating Kamala. Y'all are loving the polling. Well, those same damn polls now show Donald Trump is not popular. In fact, he's got the X, the almighty X. Remember when Joe Biden ditched Afghanistan? His polling went, and suddenly his disapproval was ahead of his approval. Donald Trump and the tariffs, he has killed his polling. His unpopularity, the polling average is not. But what about the Daily Mail online poll of 500 Trump supporters? The polling average, pay attention to the average. Donald Trump's not doing well anymore, and it's all because of the economy. The number one issue on which the public is angry at Donald Trump is the economy. Number one, tariffs. In fact, 70-some-odd% of Americans say they hate tariffs. And guess what? Over 50% of those same Americans would rather Donald Trump deal with the economy than Democrats because the Democrats are still more unpopular than Donald Trump. That's right. Majority of Americans blame Donald Trump for what's going on in the economy right now. They've stopped blaming Biden. They're blaming Trump. They're tying it to tariffs, and they would still prefer him to be in charge than the Democrats. And so what is the Democrats' big issue? And this is why the Democrats are 30 feet over a runway. What are the Democrats' major issue? Well, over to you, Chris Van Hollen, Senator from Maryland.
I'm here at the airport. I'm about to board my flight for San Salvador. The goal of this mission is to let the Trump administration, to let the government of El Salvador know that we are going to keep fighting to bring Abrego Garcia home.
So wait a second. What? The number one issue on which Donald Trump is popular is immigration. The number one issue on which Donald Trump is unpopular is the economy. And what have Democrats decided to do? They're going to El Salvador to get an illegal alien out of jail who may be an MS-13 gang member and bring him back to the United States so he can be deported again. Y'all, politics is not that hard. When you see an issue that the other side is getting killed on, and you take the side opposite them and push back loudly and uniformly with a better plan to reassure Americans, you tend to win. But the Democrats can't actually do that on the economy because a lot of Democrats have long been pro-tariff. The American public doesn't like tariffs. The American public understands it's a tax increase on them. I know some of you actually believe it. You too are 30 feet above the runway, believing that actually the foreign government somehow pays the tariff. No, the American people pay for the tariff. But if I'm not paying, I'm going to pay the tariff. Yes, you do, because they spread the cost out among all the goods, so they're not just jacking up a few goods at a high price. Yes, you do, because they slow down hiring, they slow down pay raises, they reduce workforces, they slow down dividend payments, they do all sorts of things. It affects the entire economy. Tariffs are a bad idea. The American people, overwhelmingly the American people know it. 70% of Americans believe a tariff is a tax on them, and the other 30% are 30 feet above a runway. And still, the American people would rather Donald Trump fix the issue than put the Democrats back in charge. And so what are the Democrats doing to show that they are competent and capable of handling the economy? They're going to El Salvador to save an illegal alien possible gangbanger. Genius. Absolutely. You could not script this better for show me stupid politicians. Cory Booker of New Jersey is headed to El Salvador, probably to the beach. I'm Spartacus. He's having a moment now. Do you know that Cory Booker, senator from New Jersey, he's going to El Salvador to take on the mission of a Maryland illegal alien? A New Jersey resident was himself held hostage by the Iranian government. Cory Booker couldn't bother to go to Iran for one of his own constituents. He wouldn't even talk to the family of the man who was held by the Iranians, wouldn't return their phone calls, but for a possible MS-13 gangbanger in El Salvador, he's willing to hop a plane and go secure the guy's release so he can come back here and get deported all over again. You Democrats, and you know, here's the thing. If we're just fighting, we're fighting. We're going to fight on everything. We're going to fight. We're going to fight on everything. You're not fighting on the economy. You aren't saying anything on the economy. You're trying to blame Donald Trump for high prices when you guys couldn't even acknowledge Joe Biden's inflation. Too many of you actually like tariffs and think tariffs may be a good thing. You people are out of your mind. 30 feet above the runway you are. You have lost the basic politics 101. And you can say, hey, politics 101, Erickson, when your enemy's shooting himself in the foot, you stand by and let him shoot. But you're not showing people you have a competent, combative message to counter Donald Trump on the economy. You shot yourselves in the foot. You can't just let Donald Trump shoot himself in the foot if you want to win, because people already hate you for the economy. You've got to have a redemption arc, and you don't have a redemption arc. You know what you have? You have Joe Biden coming out of the woodwork. Yes, they have resurrected the cadaver to come out and complain about the destruction of this administration.
Fewer than 100 days, this new administration has done so much damage and so much destruction. It's kind of breathtaking it could happen that soon. They've taken a hatchet to the Social Security Administration, pushing an additional 7,000 employees, 7,000 out the door in that time, including the most seasoned career officials. Now they're getting ready to push thousands more out the door. Already we can see the effects.
Okay, I'm sorry, but trotting Joe Biden out to complain about Social Security, I mean, dude screwed up the whole economy. But wait. He had one flub, too. You got to hear this one.
I'd never seen hardly any black people in Scranton at the time, and I was only going in 4th grade. And I remember seeing the kids going by at the time called colored kids on a bus going by.
Colored kids, yes. Colored kids, Joe Biden is calling them. Colored kids go by on a bus. Yep, can't help himself. Colored kids, we called them at the time. Joe Biden is resurrected from the grave just in time for Easter. He is, their Messiah in some way, except he's kind of the Antichrist. He led the Democrats into hell, not to salvation. And now he wants to show up to complain about Donald Trump after he wrecked the economy. The Democrats wrecked the economy. They have an opportunity to redeem themselves. And instead of trying to redeem themselves against Donald Trump on an economic message, they've decided to stand on the side of illegal aliens, something that the public is against. These people are 30 feet above a runway and about to crash.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1221 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Watching a few brake lights on the East Freeway, I should say. 20 westbound before and after Wesley Chapel Road, getting through the work zone there. 20 eastbound, DOT says they're working in the right lane before Panola Road, exit 71, but luckily no brake lights heading out toward Lithonia. And we got the right lane construction in Buckhead. Busy Peachtree Road northbound at Farr Road, causing some brake lights there as you head up toward the Buckhead Theater. Traffic brought to you by Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag. The Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag is the best deal in fast food for a lot of reasons, some of which include a JBC, 4-piece nugs, junior fries, and a small soft drink. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's. U.S. price and participation may vary. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
online,
on the app,
where you get your news
is where you'll win.
Are you serious? Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
OMG! The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every weekday.
Oh my God, you just made my day!
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app. The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz
begins Monday, April 21st on 95.5 WSB.
Hey, it's Scott Slade for FGA Roofing. If your home's exterior could use an updated look, or maybe one of your neighbor's designer roofs has caught your eye, and your current roof has started to show its age, then now's the perfect time to check out FGA Roofing for the latest in architectural shingles, timberland shingles, and more. Slate, tile, wood shake, cedar roofs, FGA has them all. FGA Roofing offers 0% financing for 12 months with your good credit. Get the roof you want now and pay over time. Click firstgaroof.com. That's firstgaroof.com.
Welcome to Window Wisdom with North Georgia Replacement Windows. Today, we're talking with the experts about Infinity from Marvin Fiberglass Windows. Ted Kirk and Jonathan Cullum, owners of North Georgia Replacement Windows.
Jonathan, many people may think a window is a window. Tell us how the Infinity fiberglass window is different.
Well, fiberglass is a thermoset material instead of a thermoplastic like vinyl and most other composite windows. This means other windows will be disfigured by extreme heat and cold, whereas a thermoset fiberglass window will not.
We do experience some extreme climates in Georgia sometimes. What does this mean for homeowners when it comes to windows?
Very simply, other windows lose their energy efficiency over time, but the Infinity fiberglass windows have a fit that never quits and energy efficiency that lasts. Our windows are the most durable, long-lasting solution available.
Energy efficiency is very important, but what do the windows look like? Will we have to compromise on the looks of the windows?
Not at all. Infinity windows are beautiful, not big and bulky like vinyl windows. Our windows are designed to look like traditional wood windows without the upkeep.
Okay, so the window material is durable and the product looks great. What can a homeowner expect during the installation?
We understand that this may be your one and only window replacement project, so we keep you updated every step of the way. Your detailed installation will be quick, clean, and hassle-free. We also stand behind all of our installations with a lifetime service warranty.
Jonathan and Ted, thank you for taking the time to educate us about window shopping and keeping window shopping simple. Right now, let the savings pour this April. 18% off all windows and 23% off your door project. Plus a great financing offer up to 18 months, no interest, no payments. Hurry, these offers end 4/30/25. Visit ngwindows.com for all the details. ngwindows.com.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah!
This is Scott Slade, and this is my health story. I get a checkup every year. And last September, my primary care physician was troubled by a suspicious number on my lab work. I'll never forget his words. I want somebody looking over my shoulder on this. Well, that led to a diagnosis early enough to give me options and optimism for a good outcome. When we're talking about our health, we shouldn't be shy. I think it's important to talk about what can kill you or rob you of your quality of life. Heart disease is still the nation's #1 killer. And what I think should be right up there with it, procrastination. We all need expert eyes looking us over every so often to spot problems while we still have options to deal with them. That's where Virtual Imaging comes in. They've got the best CT imaging in the Southeast with 98% accuracy and low radiation, like flying in an airplane. They can detect calcium levels in your arteries and most cancers at the earliest stage. And Virtual Imaging can scan your brain to see if you're in danger of a tumor, stroke, or even dementia. I am living proof that preventive medicine can save lives. So don't put this off, especially with this offer from Virtual Imaging. For a limited time, they're offering you and your spouse a free heart scan. Yes, free, with a few minimum requirements. I've done it. Call 404-678-SCAN. That's 404-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com. Do it now while you still have options.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here. For the record, I should note this for the record. My call screener says pilots are calling him upset because their planes do not say the R word 30 feet above the runway. These are Boeing pilots. Their planes say, ah! Yeah. Yep. I love you, Boeing pilots, but you're very sensitive right now. I can understand why. By the way, China is blocking, they had orders for 198 Boeing jetliners over the next 5 years. They've just axed those orders. The great decoupling with China has begun in earnest. This war of words, the World Trade Organization has come out just a short time ago to inform the world that they expect a regression in world trade this year. So world trade grew 3% last year. They're expecting it to recede by 0.2 of a point this year, and believe that trade between the United States and China is effectively over. That probably hurts them more than us, but it is going to make our costs go up, and people need to be mindful of that. There are a lot of warning signs that businesses and individuals are beginning to hold their spending, and maybe that won't push us into a recession. There actually are some numbers out there that suggest there'll be a slowdown, but not a recession. You know, the top 2 warning signs, this is kind of wild to me, the top 2 warning signs for people changing their spending habits, one, believe it or not, I find this one funny, strippers in Las Vegas and their tips. There's copious. They're actually, I would love to meet the academics who decided to do this, but there are economists who study this. And in Las Vegas, at strip clubs, apparently, tippers, when they slow down tipping, it's a warning sign of recession. That's why people knew there was a recession during Biden's economy, because it happened then. It's starting to happen again. The other one is hair salons. Women are cutting back on their hair appointments, and those are both key indicators that the one is actually more companies, and the other individuals are slowing down their business purchase or their shopping pattern. So you're just warned. Now, I gotta tell you, speaking of the economy and the topsy-turvy nature of it right now, Swiss America has been warning people about a secret war on cash, and they would love to be able to educate you on the secret war on cash. They are the most trusted leader in precious metals in this country and have been for 40 years. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. They can help you. All you have to do is reach out to them for their free report. It takes less than 15 minutes to read. It can save on your retirement and finances. You call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. The All-Out War on Cash includes digital forms of currency. So get the Secret War on Cash report. It's free. All you do is text them my name or mention my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K. You just text them, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 800-289-2646. You get the report completely free. By the way, the Secret War on Cash includes cryptocurrency, so read the report. 800-289-2646. Let Swiss America help you. Message and data rates may apply.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. New this half hour, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. just wrapping up a news briefing on what he calls an epidemic of autism cases. He says the increase in cases is not the result of better diagnostics and early intervention.
They weren't missing all these cases. The epidemic is real.
He says the focus needs to be on environmental causes. A CDC report finds that 1 in 31 children have been diagnosed by age 8 in 2022. That's up from 1 in 36 in 2020. And the latest numbers available for Georgia, about 1 in 46 8-year-olds in the metro Atlanta area diagnosed with autism. Autism 4 times more common in boys than in girls. Your weather for today, sunny and mild with an afternoon high of 71, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Ivan Munoz, a civilian employee at the Cobb County Sheriff's Office, has been arrested. He was arrested early today, charged with 2 counts of aggravated child molestation. Chuck Filmy with Marietta Police telling us.
An 8-year-old had the courage to come forward to her church and share with adults there that she had been inappropriately touched and molested by an adult, an actual family friend.
And now 44-year-old Munoz is being held today without bond. Metro Atlanta theater owners want parents to get involved after groups of rowdy teenagers turned showings of the popular new Minecraft film into chaos. Brant Gully with the Spring Cinema and Tap House in Sandy Springs says they had to call the police after an infamous chicken jockey incident.
There's a scene in particular towards the end of the movie where the chicken jockey appears, and somehow it became this TikTok sensation to throw your popcorn and record it and post it.
He says staff spent upwards of 3.5 hours or more cleaning up the mess. It's 12:32.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
When your air conditioner or furnace breaks down, the last thing you need is more surprises. That's why at Jape Services, you'll always get a free estimate with honest, upfront pricing. Hi, this is Daniel Jape, and we've helped thousands of your friends and neighbors with their heating and cooling needs, and our reputation depends on offering the best solution. Whether you need maintenance, repairs, or a new system, call the company you can trust, Jape Services.
Count on us, Jape Services.
Termites are silent destroyers. They could be eating your home right now and you'd never know. Unless your termite service thoroughly inspects inside your home with the best termite technology. Meteorologist Christina Edwards here for Breda Pest Management. When was the last time you actually saw your service inspect for termite damage? Let me guess, they just walked around outside and checked bait stations. If termites are eating your house, how would they know by just walking around your yard? Better get Breda. Only Breda uses advanced infrared cameras, microwave technology, and a moisture meter for early detection. So you can continue to pay more every year for your current service to just walk around outside, or switch your termite protection to Breda and your rate is locked in for 10 years. Breda Pest Management. They handle bugs and critters like termites. BREDAPest.com.
Breda, Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
All right, Alex Williams, how are we looking on the roads?
Not too bad around the Metro Interstate, Sabrina. We are seeing some brake lights. 75-85 southbound from 17th Street down toward William Street. Construction right lane in Buckhead. Peachtree Road northbound at Farr Road. That's a busy lunchtime area. As well as on Piedmont Road southbound between Lennox Road and Tower Place. That as well as in a right lane slowing Piedmont pretty much back toward Habersham and Roswell Road. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Mostly sunny and mild today. High 71.
We'll have more news at 1 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Smart, fearless, and occasionally funny. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings, conversationalists. It is Eric Erickson here, and I am delighted to have you with me. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, we are going to go all the way out to the lovely and wonderful Oklahoma City, where I need to get some audio to Joe Friday, don't I? Here I committed to doing a promo for Joe, and then I dropped the ball these last 2 weeks of crazy travel. Joe Friday, if you're listening, I will send you some audio this afternoon. And I'm going to go to Derek in Oklahoma City. Welcome to the show, Derek. How are you?
Good, man.
What's
How are
going
you?
on? Great.
Well, I had a question about Booker and him trying to help out the El Salvadorian terrorists the alleged terrorist ties that the El Salvadorian has. I was wondering, do you think they'll bring smuggling charges and possibly human trafficking charges against Booker if he happens to succeed in freeing this dude from El Salvador?
Okay, that really would be funny if they did. If Bukele says, here, take him, go back to the United States with him right now, and he does, and ICE agents are waiting at the airport, that would actually be really funny. And the Democrats would have a meltdown over it. But, you know, why not? Okay. Yeah, Derek, just, and I'm going to leave you here. And if you want to chime in, I rarely do this, but I'm going to do this with you, so you can chime in here. Look, as an American, as a constitutionalist, as a lawyer, as a conservative, like I admit I have concerns about the Trump administration deporting someone through an administrative error. And then once he's deported, say, nope, our bad, we can't get him back. And it's very clear that they're also playing a game with Bukele where they're like, I can't get him back. No, this guy gets him back. No, I can't get him back. That guy can get him back. And yeah, I do have some concerns at a constitutional level with this sort of game being played and the due process issue. But also, he's an illegal alien who probably is an MS-13 member who, guess what? This is happening as you and I are talking, Derek. This is from Bill Malugin at Fox News. Maryland court documents reveal that deported Salvadoran national Kilmar Abrego Garcia's wife, Jennifer Vasquez, petitioned for an order of protection against him. In May of 2021, the documents are sealed as to what it was about. She wanted a restraining order against him, and his immigration attorney encouraged her to marry him while he was in detention in 2019 to avoid deportation. Y'all, I'm sorry, but I have concerns. I do, and I suspect a lot of Trump supporters deep down do understand the due process concerns at stake, but also he's an illegal alien, possible gangbanger who was already ordered deported from the country. If he comes back, he's going to be deported again. I don't understand it. So yeah, Derek, to your point, if Van Hollen or Booker bring him back into the country, first of all, how is he going to get back in? Because he doesn't have an American passport. He doesn't have permission to be in the country. Who's going to let him cross the checkpoint? And then are they going to be in trouble for bringing back? It would be kind of funny if they did. I have to admit that the dark humor in me, it would be very, very funny if Cory Booker got arrested for smuggling an illegal alien into the country. He'd be a human trafficker.
Yep. Well, and the other thing, to your point, like, I get, you're right, the due process thing, and I'm totally with you. It is a problem, and I'm glad that there's such a fuss about it because it points that problem out. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, like, this would not be acceptable at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also, it would be another thing if it was an American citizen, too, I think.
Right, exactly.
And I don't think it would happen if it was an American citizen. Okay, so, Derek, here, I got to ask you one question before you get off the phone here. So, I've never been to Oklahoma City except once. I had a plane refuel in Oklahoma City. That was it. So, if I come to Oklahoma City, which I intend to do this year, where do I have to go?
Pretty much anywhere, man. This place is awesome. There's not really a bad spot of Oklahoma City. I mean, I try to avoid downtown as much as possible, just because there's a lot of people there, and I'm like to keep to myself. But
yeah,
that's about it, man.
Yeah, I'm not a people person either. People are stupid, and there are a lot of stupid people. But all right, I'm going to be out there at some point this year. I don't know when, but Derek, thanks very much for the phone call. Appreciate you listening out there. 877-973-7425. I have never been to Oklahoma City, other than I flew in and flew out one time, and I've been to Tulsa now. KRMG, God bless them. I need to get back to Tulsa. That ice hockey rink was incredible that we went to. But yeah, ice hockey in Tulsa, Oklahoma, people. And I saw that Frank Lloyd Wright's house is for sale in Tulsa the other day. My son's a big architecture kid, and he's actually into pretty modern architecture. He likes Frank Lloyd Wright, and the house is for sale in Tulsa. Too expensive for my blood. I mean, it's more than it's expensive, but I don't like architecture. My son does. I don't like really, and even he's like the most modern stuff is a little bit too much. Architecture. There's this architecture firm here in Georgia called Historical Properties, and they build like classical American, like Georgian and Greco-Roman neoclassical stuff. And one day when I build my house, when I've won the lottery, they're going to design my house for me. My buddy Vince is going to build it. They're going to design it. All right. Dan in Orlando, Florida, you're up next. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I am living the dream. How about you, sir?
I would like to, but some days it feels like a nightmare.
Well, I'm just not sure whose dream I'm living.
Yeah,
but,
there you go.
Anyway, are you going to crush my hope and dreams and tell me that the overtime tax moratorium is dead?
I'm afraid that they're trying to figure out how to do no tax on tips. I'm thinking you're not going to see the overtime tax deal.
I could retire in 2 years if that happened.
So I was actually talking to a buddy of mine who's one of the ranking members trying to come up with this tax stuff. And I've said this on radio, and to hear it from him, it was so funny. He was venting frustration between the House guys and the Senate guys, and all these people now are coming to the woodwork. If you do this, I won't vote for it. If you do this, I won't vote for it. He's like, we don't have any votes for this plan because everybody's dug in their heels on their one particular sacred cow. And he says, and the horrible thing is, he says, we go to President Trump, and we're like, we need you to intervene. And he says, every time we go to Trump, he's like, okay, but I got another idea on something else not to tax. It's like, I love this guy. Every time they go, he's like, I don't want to tax this. I don't want to tax that. He doesn't want to tax capital gains. He doesn't want to tax dividends. He doesn't want to tax overtime. He doesn't want to tax tips. He doesn't want to tax anything at this point. And I'm like, yes, please, let's just starve the government.
Well, yeah, I mean, I love your line that you want your government to be big enough you can drown in a bathtub. And
yes.
I know that for the past 5 years, I write the government a check, my wife and I, for $3,000 every year, and we are blue-collar people. And it's mainly the overtime. Kicks me up in that other bracket. So,
yeah,
it just,
look,
it was
I
one of
agree
those
with you.
great things that would tremendous, but I don't think it's going to happen.
No, I don't think so. And I don't know that they're going to get the full no tax on tips things either, in large part because, like, for example, depending on the restaurant, a lot of cooks get to share in tips, but there are other people who work in restaurants who don't. And so you pit the restaurant employees against each other on something like this. Now, the corollary there is they're like, for example, the waitress doesn't make regular minimum wage, makes something less, and the guy washing the dishes probably makes minimum wage, but it becomes a complicated mess on how you do it, and then also how do you not avoid people in the economy pivoting to tips so that they can get around it. It becomes a complicated mess, and that's part of the holdup on coming up with a plan. And if that one's a hard one, I think the overtime one's going to be too much because
no, the overtime is gravy. That's easy. You just make it non-taxable income. I mean, I see it on my check.
Yeah, let me restate this one. Yes, the overtime one would be an easier way to find a way around it. You don't have regulations, but their priority proposal is no tax on tips, and they want that one so bad that it's going to be harder for them to get to no overtime taxation. Yeah, the overtime taxation one, I'm with you. Way easier to figure out how to make that work than the no tax on tips one. But they want the no tax on tip ones. The overtime was just another one Donald Trump threw out there, like the capital. Now he's saying no capital gains tax. They're like, we cannot fund your plan if we don't tax capital gains.
Well, I tell you, from a guy who works 50 a week, 50, 55,
mm-hmm.
if that would stimulate the economy like nothing else.
Oh, I
You know
think
how
you're
much
right.
extra income morons like me would have who are going to go out and are going to go buy a boat, going to go buy an RV,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or one new pair of jeans a year. You know, the amount that we are taxed on that is incredible. And I know it's
Okay,
nothing to a high roller
hey,
like you.
listen now, Dan. I just you're hitting me close here because as someone who works a lot, and I'm classified as an executive, so I don't get overtime. That's all I do is work. Nobody pays me
Those
overtime.
are poor decisions on your part, my friend.
Yeah, I need a better agent. Yeah, Rush Limbaugh
Well,
found me my agent. I need a better guy.
Well,
He's listening right
you know
now on the
what?
radio. You should know.
Yes, if you can mention yourself and Rush Limbaugh, you're doing okay, my friend.
Yeah, I guess I am. Listen, Dan, it's great to hear from you down in Orlando. Yeah, I got to tell you though. Yes, I was at my office last night working till 12:30 this morning, and no, I get no overtime for that. But I had to start. I realized Good Friday is Friday, and I hadn't picked the music for the Good Friday show, and I've got to. It's the one show of the year where I really spend a lot of diligent time outlining stuff to make sure I get stuff right and have to research. And so I was doing all the research and everything last night, and then it's like, oh, doggone it, I haven't even picked the music. I looked at the clock; it was 12:30 in the morning, and I was still stuck at the office. So by the time I got home, we have this security system in our house. And so the house is covered here. We've had people show up at our house and stuff in the past. So there's this company in Atlanta, Owen Security. This isn't an ad for them. They're not actually advertised right now, but I love them. And they do the security at our house. So I pulled into the driveway. It's like 12:40 in the morning. I get out of my car, and all of a sudden I hear this bullhorn. Sir, stay where you are. We see you in the driveway. It's like, oh, my gosh. And I'm trying to wave that it's me. And I start, sir, stay where you are. Then the phone rings. It's like, I promise it's me. I was like, I'm going to get arrested in my own yard. Great security system. It certainly works, but my goodness. Nonetheless, yeah, I don't think, and you know, Dan, I'm glad you called because this moves this topic around. They cannot come up with a plan. So here's part of the problem. In addition to the no tax on tip stuff that they can't figure out how to make it work yet, Medicare, Medicaid, the president does want to make an adjustment for waste, fraud, and abuse, but they're finding that when they tinker with the waste, fraud, and abuse stuff, they're actually finding in the rules that they're creating, they're finding it's actually trapping some legitimate people, and they don't want to trap any legitimate person who might have their Medicaid cut because they're falling under a revised formula to try to weed out waste, fraud, and abuse that actually trips in some legitimate people. They can't figure this stuff out. They've got to figure it out. The clock is ticking on them. There is a conventional wisdom setting in among Republicans in Washington that if they can't get their plan done by the 4th of July, it's going to send ripples through the market that they may not be able to get it done at all. So they're trying to work really, really hard to get something done, but you have all these constituencies in Congress who don't want their particular sacred cow cut. And then you got the guys in New York and California, the Republicans, who want the full SALT deduction to come back. That is a complete deduction for state and local taxes. They're not going to get that, so they're going to negotiate the cap. It's a mess. I'm glad it's them and not me. I can throw rocks. They have to actually do the stuff. Now, you got to get your computer sorted out, and if you can't get your computer sorted out, well, you're maybe losing some business. And that's where Vision Computers comes in. Your employees should not have to be computer experts. If you call Vision Computer at 404-COMPUTE and tell them I sent you, they can be your computer experts. So if you have a problem at all, you call Vision, you don't get put on hold, you don't get called back, you don't go to voicemail, someone answers the phone, and you get the answer to whatever is ailing your computer, or you just can't figure something out on your computer. You need to be productive with your business, particularly right now in the economy as it is. You can't afford downtime for technology issues, so Vision Computer can increase your uptime for productivity while you offload your technology issues to them. Call them at 404-COMPUTE. They can build you computers, and with those computers, their tech support comes free. If you just need the tech support, it's $179 a year per computer. That is a real savings. Without having an in-house IT guy, you can save some money, and they're always available, so you're not being troubleshooting tech support at your company. You're productive, your employees are productive, and Vision keeps everything going. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com, visioncomputers.com. Call them at 404-COMPUTE. Tell them Eric sent you. You're going to save even more money. Their computers that they build, I got to tell you, we've got one for my son. They really are fantastic. And their tech support, whenever my son has a question, he calls them. They answer the phone. They talk a 16-year-old through, for example, the other day, how to sync his Xbox controller to his computer to download a Microsoft emulator to play Xbox on his gaming PC. They did it all to him over the phone. If that sounds Greek to you, it does to me as well. But they figured it out with him. They're geniuses. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Eric Erickson Show.
1251 Cool Day Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Watching a few brake lights through the Cobb Cloverleaf. That's 285 westbound, the outer loop passing I-75 in Truist Park. Haven't found any crashes in the way, just some volume there. If you're traveling into Cobb County, right lane construction, 20 eastbound before Panola Road, exit 71. And we're still watching the construction in Buckhead, Piedmont Road southbound, right around Tower Place, just past Lennox Road. A right lane is blocked there, slowing you back toward Roswell Road. Traffic brought to you by Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag. The Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag is the best deal in fast food for a lot of reasons, some of which include a JBC, 4-piece nugs, junior fries, and a small soft drink. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's. U.S. price and participation may vary. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
If it's happening on the streets of Atlanta,
Cobb County Medical Examiner's Office identifies 57 sets of cremains.
if it's happening on the roads leading to Atlanta,
Massive project at 285 and Georgia 400 has been a big improvement.
we've got it covered.
Atlanta jurors convict a former Customs and Border Protection officer.
Your 24/7 news source.
Covering the stories that impact you.
Tune in throughout the day to stay up to date.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
Termites could be eating your home right now and you'd never know. Dave Baker here for Breda Pest Management. When was the last time you actually saw your service inspect for termite damage? Let me guess. They just walked around outside and checked bait stations. Better get Breda. They use advanced infrared cameras and microwave technology for early detection. Switch to Breda and your termite rate is locked in for 10 years.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group, to discuss one of the biggest blind spots that people face when saving for retirement, and it's a head scratcher. Chris, how do so many people not know what they're invested in?
That's the biggest flaw that everybody runs into. They think they know what equities they have, they think they know what bonds they have, but they really don't know how those mutual funds or how those index funds are performing in conjunction with one another. So, I would liken this to a big pot of soup and we're just throwing all the ingredients in the refrigerator in this thing. It's not very good. It's just a mishmash of stuff. And sometimes you like the way it tastes. Sometimes you don't. And when you don't know why. You don't know if you got too much chicken in there or too much vegetables in there or what's going on. And I ask every caller that comes in for an initial consultation, do you know how your portfolio is broken down? And they say, well, I've got, 20 or so options in my 401k, and I just picked 2 of them or 3 of them. I thought I needed some international. I thought I needed some U.S. equities. I thought I needed some bonds. And they're just guessing. So you have to absolutely know what you're invested in, and that's where we will run the 401k portfolio x-ray for you, because that'll break it down. If you're not proficient at investing and don't understand this world, we will walk you through it. Not knowing what you're invested in is a big hindrance to growing and protecting your money. We will run a portfolio x-ray for you and educate you on exactly what's in your portfolio.
Set up a time to get your complimentary portfolio x-ray today. Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858. That's 404-737-3858, or book online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Hey homeowners, it's Eric Erickson. You wouldn't trust Mac with a jack to fix your home's sinking foundation problem, would you? I certainly wouldn't. Serious issues need serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, so are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Your non-stop news source. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Building and loan, wherever your business is, they can help your business grow. Side note, let me talk about the Frost family generally. I have known Brant Frost's family for a number of years now. They were the original sponsor to my radio program when I went into syndication, and they're still with me. They're a good Christian family. They support my Good Friday show and the Christmas program every year, and they love helping businesses. It is their passion. So if you've got a business, and a lot of lenders right now, given the economy, are kind of skittish on lending money, giving you access to capital, but you've got a vision for a business. The Frost family has been doing this since the early 1990s, and they help businesses nationwide. They're in Noonan, Georgia. They're not in D.C. They're not in New York. They're in his hometown, America. And so if your business wants to grow and you've got an opportunity, you see something, and you can't get your lender to grasp your vision, reach out to the Frost. They've been doing this since the 90s. They might be able to help you. If you need $250,000 or more, or if it's heavy equipment, you need like $75,000 or more, they can do it. $250 is kind of where their sweet spot, and higher than that. So you need big bucks for a big vision. Reach out to them. FirstLibertyGA.com. Tell them I sent you. FirstLibertyGA.com. No finer people to help a business grow. Not only that, just as an aside, Brant Frost knows business, and he is a fount of wisdom. So if you start doing business with the Frost and First Liberty, they have a great sense of what works and what doesn't, and he gives you candid advice lovingly. Good people. FirstLibertyGA.com. Now, there is some breaking news. I got to bring you this breaking news. Just hit the wires. Judge Boasberg has just issued a memorandum opinion. In the opinion, the court has determined the government's actions demonstrate a willful disregard for its order to return the El Salvadoran illegal immigrant, sufficient for the court to conclude that probable cause exists to find the government in criminal contempt. The court does not reach the conclusion lightly or hastily. Indeed, it has given defendants ample opportunity to rectify or explain their actions. None of these responses are sufficient. As a result of this, the judge wants the names of the individuals who are making the determinations not to aggressively pursue return of the individual. However, the government does not need to release any of the individuals sent to El Salvador, nor would it need to transport them back to the homeland. It really wants to focus on who has custody of the individuals for purposes of habeas corpus proceedings, and also who was responsible for imposing the conditions to remove these people to the United States in defiance of court orders. As a result, you could get some contempt proceedings, but the DOJ is not going to prosecute those people, and the court recognizes that. Big escalation here from Judge Boasberg against the president and the executive branch over moving these people to Venezuela. When we come back, we got to talk about Harvard some more. Big dispute breaking out on the left over what to do about it.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or ConsumerCellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Nelson Exteriors. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. holding a news briefing today on the surge in autism cases. Jim Ryan covering the briefing.
In its own literature about autism spectrum disorder, the CDC cites genetic conditions as one potential cause. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. suggests that
genes don't cause epidemics. You need an environmental toxin.
And he thinks it's not an accident.
Somebody made a profit by putting that environmental toxin into our air, our water, our medicines, our food.
Kennedy has vowed to determine the source of what he calls the autism epidemic.
And Kennedy saying today, new studies on links between environmental toxins and autism expected to be announced in 2 to 3 weeks. Your weather for today, sunny and mild with a high of 71 this afternoon, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. She'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up in just a matter of minutes. An employee with the Cobb County Sheriff's Office fired today and arrested. He's facing serious charges.
The suspect was a criminal justice specialist for the Sheriff's Department, where he had been employed since 2000.
44-year-old Ivan Soto Muniz is now booked in and being housed in the Cobb County Adult Detention Center without bond.
Chuck McPhillamy with Marietta Police says Muniz is charged with 2 counts of aggravated child molestation. He says Muniz was a family friend of the 8-year-old female victim in this case. She came forward to share her story with leaders at her church. That prompted the swift investigation and arrest. Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
A federal judge says he's found probable cause to hold the Trump administration in criminal contempt of court for violating his orders to turn around planes carrying deportees to El Salvador. U.S. District Judge saying that the administration must try to purge itself of a contempt finding, or he'll launch hearings and potentially refer the matter for prosecution. Cancer patients, the American Cancer Society has launched a new pilot program that will offer more support to those patients and their caregivers here in Metro Atlanta. Babs Williams is the program's manager.
Through ACS Empower, our new program, we're offering classes led by people with expertise to help everyone access important information during treatment.
And she says this program is free and open to anybody in the metro area who's going through cancer, as well as, we said, those caregivers and family members. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow right now is down 264 at 40,104. So the Dow's down more than 0.5%, NASDAQ's down more than 2%, and the S&P's down more than 1%.
I'm not surprised that Ragsdale Heating, Air, Plumbing, and Electrical continues to grow and are looking for good, caring people to join their team. If you've got experience as a plumber, electrician, or you're an HVAC technician, give Ragsdale a call and become part of a great team. This is Scott Slate, and I used companies large and small until I went with Ragsdale years ago and saw firsthand how competent and caring a heating and air company could be. Many of their employees have been with them 10, 20, even 30 years. For a great opportunity to grow with a great company, go to ragsdaleair.com/careers and apply today.
Home improvement projects can be a stressful guessing game. Trust the Plus. Painting Plus, the highest level of communication. The Plus means siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and of course, painting.
Hi, I'm Charlie, owner of Painting Plus and the Plus family of businesses. We'll make you comfortable and keep you informed with every step of your project.
If your home's exterior has it, the Plus can improve it. Painting Plus, siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and more. Trust the Plus. PaintingPlus.com.
The foods we eat can be downright bad for our health. This is Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've been teaching the truth about real bread. Not the stuff you buy at the store. I'm talking real bread made with freshly milled flour. When you buy bread from the store, take a look at the ingredients. Enriched flour means that the nutritious bran and germ has been removed to improve the shelf life. Then a few B vitamins and iron are added back to replace the multitude of nutrients lost. That's not enrichment in my book. And today, that label may even read contains bioengineered food ingredients. Food should never be bioengineered. At Bread Beckers in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real bread loaded with fiber and nutrients. A delicious, healthy, affordable solution that can improve your health and change your life. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
Guys, if you're having ED or performance issues and Viagra and Cialis haven't worked, you need to come see Choice Men's Health. Give us a call or visit us online at choicemenshealth.com. Get your love life back and choose Choice Men's Health.
Beaver Direct certified, providing the highest quality vehicles at the very best prices. Every vehicle undergoes rigorous reconditioning with the industry-leading 12-month, 12,000-mile certified warranty. Visit us at beavertoyotacumming.com and see why everyone loves Beaver Direct.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center with a look at your roads.
Watching a new crash on the West Freeway. It's I-20 eastbound Riverside Parkway exit 46. It's in the right lane, causing a few brake lights as you leave Thornton Road, passing the theme park over there. Elsewhere, if you're traveling 285 eastbound the inner loop in DeKalb County, it's starting to fill in from I-85 Spaghetti Junction, passing Chamblee Tucker Road. We'll see if any new crashes are working there. And elsewhere, still got the construction in Buckhead, right lane block Peachtree northbound at Far Road, and Piedmont southbound just south of Lennox Road. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunny skies and mild today. High 71, lows tonight in the mid-40s. Tomorrow, sunshine, high 76, back in the mid-80s by Friday.
64 degrees in Duluth, 65 in Vinings. Cartersville has 63 degrees. Looking ahead to Easter Sunday, short sleeves and a sundress will do, with afternoon highs expected to be in the upper 80s. We'll have more news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hello, America. How are you? Land of the free, home of the Braves. The phone number, 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I guess we're now more land of the free and home of the torpedo bats, aren't we? My goodness. You can text the word Eric, E-R-I-C-K. That would be my name. Text Eric to 33777. Should you wish to be on the program, I am happy to entertain your phone calls, and thank you, in a way implying strongly to you, you can stop emailing now. Thank you to those of you in Oklahoma City who have recommendations on things to see and do in Oklahoma City. I promise I will come see you this year. We got lots of people to see. I got to go do a croquet match down in Palm Beach as well with our affiliate down there. I sent the croquet set. I want you to know that they told me they do croquet tournaments and they were lying. Well, I sent them a croquet set and said, we're going to do this. Now, we got to move on. We have to talk again about Harvard. I didn't expect to talk about Harvard 2 days in a row, the Ivy League. Every other school is called the Harvard of wherever. I went to the Harvard of the South, Mercer University, but my friends who went to Vanderbilt say that they call themselves the Harvard of the South. Everybody calls themselves the Harvard of the South. I don't know why anybody wants to be Harvard. They're a pretentious bunch of snobs. Godless secular atheists at a school that was originally a religious institution. And they have a 50-some-odd billion with a B dollar endowment and are upset about the federal government cutting upwards of $5 to $9 billion in money. You know what? This is a very simple thing. If you don't want the government to be involved in your business, keep them out of your business. When you start out as a married person, many times, in many cases, you might run into financial struggle. My wife and I did. We had generous parents who were able to help. But you will note over time, if your parents or others continually have to help you, they take a greater and greater say in your business and spending and life decisions. My wife, when she was in college, very much made a conscious decision to, she didn't really want her parents' help. And she knew that she would have a better relationship with her parents if there were no strings attached, that they weren't having to bail her out from stuff. When we got married, we were not making. I was on partner track to my law firm. I was within a year of being a partner, and we were barely making ends meet. I mean, we were not making a lot of money at all. I was working 80 hours a week and maybe making $50,000 a year. My wife was an assistant to university president. I think she was finally hitting maybe 25,000 or so. We were having a baby. It was very difficult, and there were more than once where we did not have a lot of money, and my wife's dad was on her checking account from when she was a kid and would transfer money in, and the next pay period would transfer money back out. I remember one time we were living in this rental house. This rental house had no insulation, and there was one month where our heating bill was like $600 or $700. It was insane, and we gave up every luxury in life to be able to pay that bill because we did not want help. Because inevitably, help does tend to come with strings attached over time. If you keep getting bailed out, it's a signal to everybody else you don't know what the heck you're doing. Well, the same works with the private sector when it takes public money. When the private sector takes public money, the public starts to have strings attached. This is one of the ways that people get scared about school choice. This is actually one of the scare factors for people with school choice, and it comes up all the time. So let's just take school choice. The government money flows through to the parents, who then get to use that money to send their child to a school of their choice. So they decide to send their kid to a religious school. There's not a separation of church and state issue because the government is not sending the money to the religious school. It's actually sending the money to the parents. The parents are picking, I want it to go to the school. Send my check there. Well, if the government is doing that and the parents are sending their kid to the private school, what the anti-school choice people do is they whisper in the ears of the parents whose kids go to that Christian school and say, if you take this money, we get to set your standards. If you take this money, we get to tell you what you can and cannot do. And a lot of people who would otherwise support school choice, like, I don't think I can support school choice because I think the government's going to come after my school. It's one of the scare tactics that the left uses to get people who would otherwise support school choice change their mind. Now, I got to tell you, in most cases, it's not actually true, because if the money is being routed through the parents to the school, then it's actually that the strings aren't there on the school, and it depends on how you do it, and conservatives have figured out a way to do it. But when it comes to nonprofits, when it comes to educational institutions, when the government sends money, the strings come attached with it. If the government sends money to your local public school for Title I funding or what have you, there are strings that come attached. The Biden administration, the Obama administration, Democrats generally have attached strings related to DEI and hiring. And here comes the Trump administration, says, we don't want you to do DEI anymore. I know Biden wanted you to after George Floyd. I'm telling you, you can't. Do not do it. And now Harvard is saying, we're not going to cut our DEI programs. And the Trump administration is saying, okay, well, you're discriminating against students. And you're discriminating against faculty. And you are doing race-based hiring decisions. In the name of diversity, equity, and inclusion, you're not going to get any money from us. Harvard has said, we're going to fight you. We demand the money. See, Harvard wants to keep the money coming. They just don't want to follow the strings that are attached from Donald Trump. They can't do that. And I don't think Harvard's going to be very successful. Now, at the district court level, they'll find a progressive judge to give them their way, but I don't think it goes up to the Supreme Court and it's going to last. There was a conversation on, of all things, MSNBC this morning on Morning Joe, Mika Brzezinski, and of all people, Chris Matthews. Yes, Chris Matthews, back from the grave. Listen to this.
Well, I have to say that the administration sometimes sets its targets in the right direction. The elite universities of this country are not exactly covered in roses right now in the way that they handle these demonstrations. I think everybody, whether you're a Jewish student or not, I think you want to have a right to go to a class when you're paying $90,000 a year in tuition. You have a right to go to the class and be taught by your professors and to enjoy the rights of a better university, a good university. And the fact that they had to be told to do this, they had to be told to let students go to school, which is what this is about, if they had to be told to do that, they had a problem in their own heads. So I think the elite universities are taking a beating right now. It's probably a smart move. It may not be nice, but it's one of those areas where people are rooting for this guy Garcia because they think he might be an innocent man being thrown into a prison in a foreign country. But the fact is, in this case, it's Trump going after the elites. He knows what he's doing. Politically, it's not going to hurt him. I think these universities have enough money to cover their legacies. They got a lot of money to handle it, so they're going to be able to take care of themselves. I don't want to be loose about this, but I think Trump targeting these universities is probably not the worst move he ever made.
Yes, Chris Matthews is making sense, but now Molly Youngfast, member of the Lucky Sperm Club, she's on countering Chris Matthews. She, by the way, spectacularly not accomplished other than who her parents were and opening doors for her. And this is her view countering Chris Matthews.
I'm going to respectfully push back on this. I totally disagree. This is thought policing 101. This is not okay. The truth is, and I say this as a Jew, this is not. They are using anti-Semitism as a cloak, right? If this administration really cared about anti-Semitism, there's a lot of stuff they could do. This is not about that. This is about targeting universities. This is about targeting speech. This is right out of an authoritarian playbook. And this is, and you know, they may say that it's one thing, but what I've been really impressed with is that we're seeing a lot of universities push back because they know this is illegal.
Wait. She can't say what it is. They're just hiding behind it's something else. It's not about anti-Semitism. They're only targeting schools with anti-Semitic protesters who have been denying Jewish students access to campus. Sounds pretty anti-Semitic to me. It's really actually kind of funny to see this. I can't give this administration any credit. You know, there is a class of anti-Trump people who worked very hard to get him renominated in 2024 because they were convinced they could beat him again. Just like 2020, they were going to beat him again. And they lost, and now they're furious. They are the most unhinged people in America. They were convinced I'm gonna do a character assassination on Haley and DeSantis and everyone else. We're gonna make sure Donald Trump gets the nomination because we're gonna beat him again. That they did everything they could to ensure he got the nomination, and then they lost to him, and they can't believe it, and they cannot give him credit for anything, y'all. I get so much hate mail from Trump supporters because I'm willing to criticize him. I supported him. I gave him much more money than many of the people who attacked me for criticizing him. There's no politician in America I'm willing to think is the perfect person. I'm willing to criticize him. But my gosh, this is what I voted for. To shut down the anti-Semitism on college campuses and go after the wokes on college campuses. This is exactly the sort of stuff I knew Donald Trump would do. I don't like the tariffs. I'm very open about that. But this sort of stuff, yes. We have seen the protests with our own eyes. We have seen the anti-Semites take over buildings, harass Jewish students, lock them out of libraries, lock them in libraries, do all sorts of things. And these people are really like, this isn't anti-Semitism. The anti-Semitism is the cover for what they're doing. I won't say what they're actually doing. No, what they're actually doing is they're going after these universities that have allowed their campuses to be overrun with terrorist sympathizers who are not American citizens. And the Trump administration is saying, you got to start sending these terrorist sympathizers back to their home countries and protect Jewish students' right to exist on your campus. And the university is like, we will not protect the Jews. Well, then stop taking my tax dollars. It's very simple. Stop taking my tax dollars if you're not going to protect the Jewish students on your campus. If you're not going to stop the anti-Semites from rioting and taking over college buildings, well, stop taking my dollars. You clearly don't need them, Harvard. You have a $50-some-odd billion endowment generating lots of interest for you. You use that to cover your research costs. You use that to cover your student grants. You use that to cover your scholarships. You use that. The fact that these people hate Donald Trump so much they can't credit him with anything. But you know what's going to happen? The moment Donald Trump is gone and the next Republican comes along, they're going to start saying that, oh, well, you know, at least Donald Trump took on the anti-Semites. They can't do it today because he's there. It's like George W. Bush was the second coming of Hitler until Donald Trump came around, and then he's like, oh, we miss George W. Bush. The Hitler is here now. You know what? Stop taking my federal taxpayer dollars. It's that simple. You don't want strings attached from Washington, D.C. It's been long settled. You take the money from Washington, the money comes on their terms. If you don't like the terms, well, send the money back. It's very, very simple, Harvard. Very, very simple, Columbia. It's very, very simple, Ivy League. You are hotbeds of anti-Semitism. Your students are woke and broke. Your students are not good students. They're not well academically fit for most institutions. They are entitled, spoiled brats who think they can get into companies and change the work culture to their liking. You should be hiring from the SEC and the ACC anyway. Stop hiring from the Ivy League. You'll find a better quality person with a better moral character than you're getting out of the Ivy League these days. It is reflective from the students all the way to the faculty. And if Donald Trump wants to cut their funding, stop it. It's my money anyway, and I don't want it going to him.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
120 Cool Day Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Earlier crash in Cobb County, 20 eastbound Riverside Parkway, exit 46. That is clear. Delays improving there. Still seeing the brake lights through Midtown, 75-85 southbound. Right around Brookwood in the 17th Street area. Stays sluggish down to I-20. With a few brake lights northbound from University Avenue trying to clear Freedom Parkway. Traffic brought to you by Lear Capital. Our financial system is cracking under pressure. Your retirement is at risk. Take control now. Lear Capital is offering a free Sky High Silver Report and Precious Metals IRA guide at BetterNestEgg.com. Don't leave your future to chance. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Coming Thursday on Atlanta's Morning News, the backlash against this week's deadly police chase right through a busy metro neighborhood. We'll cover the renaming of Fort Benning. Scott Slade's Georgia this week, checking in with an old friend, Coach Rich, during this Parkinson's month. Plus, why Clark Howard thinks Georgians are more susceptible to scammers than people in other states. Hey, I'm Chris Chandler. Join us starting at 5 a.m. for Atlanta's Morning News on 95.5 WSB.
When it's time to replace your windows, make sure you have options and get to choose the energy-efficient window that is right for your home, your style, and your budget. Dave Baker here for the only window company I recommend, Nelson Exteriors. With Nelson, you're in charge. Choose from many top-rated window manufacturers like Anderson and MI, all backed by Nelson's worry-free lifetime labor warranty. For your replacement windows, pick the company that's more picky than you. Google Nelson Exteriors.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
If you've been taught that all bread is unhealthy, I'm here to tell you not if it's real bread. Hi, I'm Sue Becker from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. If you're struggling with weight gain, high cholesterol, constipation, even warts, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, come visit us at the Bread Becker store in Woodstock, where we have taught thousands of customers that real bread might be their healthy solution. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of real whole grains and bread. I discovered that store-bought bread has had most of the nutrients in the grain removed during milling, and yes, even packages labeled 100% whole wheat. Make a healthy eating change in your life at Bread Beckers in Woodstock. We'll show you how bread, but only real bread, might be the answer to your family's physical ills. The Bread Beckers. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people pay to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Storm season is bearing down on us, and that means power outage season is here too. Dave Baker here for Brightbox Electrical. Being stuck in a dark, hot home as storms start to fire up is no fun. That's why my friends at Brightbox Electrical, a Coolray company, are now offering $500 off a Generac home standby generator, and if you purchase now, you'll receive a 2-year maintenance and monitoring plan for free. So don't be left in the dark or the heat. Visit brightboxelectrical.com to schedule your appointment.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. All the information without the spin. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be happy to have you. I want to go to the phones to Carlos. Welcome to the show, Carlos. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Eric? You doing all right today, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for calling.
All right. I just wanted to tattle off what you were speaking on about not being connected to government as far as money and how they have strings attached to you.
Yeah.
Just a personal statement, real quick. I was a drug addict for almost 15 years. I started early, 16, 17 years old, and it just spiraled out of that. I tried to help myself so many times, not doing this, seeing what worked, but nothing would work. So I was witnessed to one day by this ministry called Victory Outreach. They have a location right here in Atlanta where I'm at, and almost in every major city in the world. So I went into this program, and it was Christian based. But what set them apart from others was the fact that this ministry funded their rehabilitation program themselves. Their church, Victory Outreach, is a church. It's an international ministry. They also has what they call victory homes for men and women who want to be delivered from the hold of drugs and alcohol or prostitution or whatever vice you may have through the ministry and through the help of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Now, how did that apply to what you was talking about is, so I'm going to this program and, man, there's guys everywhere. And sometimes we would eat good. Sometimes it was just rice and beans. We called it beans and rice and Jesus Christ. That was for dinner sometimes. But this is the thing. We're evangelistic ministry, and we would evangelize in the streets of Atlanta to those who would be suffering from drug addiction, alcohol abuse, homelessness, whatever it may be. And if you wanted to receive Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior and get help from the vice that you had holding you down all your life, then we would take you. And we would take you right then and there, and you can come straight into our program and start the journey. I stayed around a while. I was delivered from my addictions. Then I even became the assistant director of the facility in Atlanta.
That's fantastic.
Now, the thing is, the government couldn't tell us what to do, when to do. He couldn't tell us how many people that we could house under one roof. They couldn't tell us that we had to stick to a certain nutrition program, they couldn't tell us anything, because dealing with people who've been battered by drug abuse and alcohol, they don't have it all. They don't have a tuberculosis test in their back pocket trying to go through the Salvation Army. Now, the Salvation Army is great, but they do receive government funds, so you have to stick to a certain procedure. You can only have 20 guys. But if I feel like God has called me to save as many as I can save, what if I need to bring 40? What if 40 people wanted to receive Christ?
Right.
But the government told me I could only use 20 because of red tape, because I gave you $1. So our founder, like I said, he saw that.
Carlos, I've got 30 seconds.
and he switched it all up. So what I'm saying
Listen,
is this.
that's a great example, Carlos. Thank you very much, and I'm going to move my ad spot to the next hour because I didn't want to cut you off there to jump to an ad. That's a great example. There are plenty of ways to do it without government funding. Donation-driven ministries like that have a lot more flexibility. They don't have to worry about the government. Hillsdale College, great example. Hillsdale doesn't take any government money, has all sorts of flexibility. And those are the trade-offs you got to make. Public streams or no.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. We do have breaking news this half hour.
CBS News special report. A federal judge says the Trump administration could face prosecution if it doesn't return to the U.S. the alleged Venezuelan gang members it deported to El Salvador using the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. CBS Justice Department reporter Jake Rosen.
Because the government did not answer and listen to Judge James Boasberg's orders to turn those planes around while they were in midair, arguing that Boasberg had no authority to order those planes around and that the planes were outside of U.S. airspace, he says in a court opinion just filed right now that the government has likely committed contempt of court.
Legal analyst Lori Levinson.
There will be a hearing on this, that in fact you may have members of the administration found in contempt, and then the issue becomes whether or not that contempt is enforced, or perhaps the President Trump just pardons everyone.
The judge says if the Justice Department declines to prosecute the case, he'll appoint another attorney to do it. CBS News special report. I'm Michael Wallace.
71 degrees under sunny skies today, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Her full forecast straight ahead. The Cobb County Sheriff's Office fires a criminal justice specialist after he's arrested on child sex charges. Police say Ivan Munez was arrested today following an investigation by Marietta Police. He is charged with 2 counts of aggravated child molestation. Lawmakers and advocates calling for an end to Georgia State Patrol's pursuit practices. This following a fatal crash in the Little Five Points area earlier this week. A news conference set for this afternoon at 3 o'clock hour at the site of that deadly crash. WSB News will be there. And retail sales rose 1.4% last month. As we take a look at the markets, we are in the red. The Dow's down more than 0.5%. NASDAQ's down more than 2%. And the S&P's down more than 1.5%. It's 1:32.
Okay, so you're a handyman, and the more work you can do in a day, the more you get paid. You need a truck that'll carry all your tools and supplies. You need a Toyota Tundra from Beaver Toyota of Cumming. Dave Baker here. With your lifestyle, the Toyota Tundra is the perfect vehicle for you. It has plenty of room to haul stuff for work or play. Plus, it comes with the Beaver benefits, lifetime powertrain warranty, free oil changes, premium roadside assistance, and more. The Toyota Tundra from Beaver Toyota of Cumming. It's the official truck of the Home Fix-It Show. See more at beavertoyotacumming.com.
Hey, homeowners, it's Eric Erickson here. Do your windows and doors stick? Are you noticing cracks in the drywall or the brickwork? You might have a big problem. Serious issues need the serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, as are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now, 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
An investment in your home is something that will pay off in the future, but it's something that you can enjoy right now. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage, Entry Doors, and Windows. A beautiful new garage door, entry doors, and windows are an investment you can love every day, and they will increase your home's value, energy efficiency, and curb appeal. All Four Seasons, trusted in Atlanta for over 25 years, exceptional customer service, and high-quality work. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 Seasons Garage. All
right, Alex Williams, you have a look at the roads for us.
Yeah, in DeKalb County, Sabrina, I'm checking on a reported new stall, 285 southbound, the inner loop, Highway 78, the Stone Mountain Freeway. Definitely starting to see it stack up back toward Highway 29, the Lawrenceville Highway area. We'll try to spin the jam cam for that. If you're traveling into downtown, starting to see the brake lights fill in from the 85-400 merge as you make your way down past 17th Street. And right lane road work in DeKalb, 20 east past Wesley Chapel. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Mostly sunny and mild today, high 71.
More news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, even when it isn't popular. You're listening to The Erick Erickson Show.
Hello there, welcome. It is Erick Erickson here across the nation. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be very, very happy to have you. One more point in this, went around out on Carlos and government funding. There are a lot of nonprofits in the United States that rely completely on the care and generosity of others and not the federal government. When the federal government comes in, the federal government does start imposing strings. And they have certain standards you have to meet. They audit compliance, things like that. It becomes a huge financial burden on smaller institutions to take government money. And a lot of those small ones, particularly faith-based organizations, they rely on individuals and the generosity of others. And Harvard, being a nonprofit that spends its money on government money, a lot of the government money that goes to Harvard is spent on research. There are certainly academic grants and scholarships and things like that, or grants and student loans the government funds. But a lot of the money that Harvard gets beyond its endowment goes to joint public-private partnership research for engineering, for medicine, things like that. That's where the money's going, and the government's like, we're not going to keep giving it to you. Comes with the territory. Now, this gets me to a housekeeping note I do want you to know about. My children, now just my son because my daughter's moved to college, goes to a small classical Christian school. And it is not a school of wealthy people. It is police officers and firemen. It is landscapers. And the school is very committed to Christian orthodoxy. So it's not on a lot of people's radar. They've been asking me for a couple years now to do a fundraiser for the school. What could I do to leverage my audience to see if people might be willing to help the school? It's a worthy project, and my wife and I do what we can, but they could use some help. And at the same time, my buddy Braden has been telling me I've got so many crazy stories that I can't tell on radio. They're not appropriate for radio for one reason or another, and not all language, just their topic's not appropriate for radio. And he's like, you should rent out a stage, take people's cell phones, and you should tell those stories. So my birthday is coming up in June. And I have decided that the fabulous Fox Theater in Atlanta has the Egyptian ballroom there. And I have rented it out for July 12th. And we're going to sell tickets. They're going to be $99 a ticket. And all of the money is going to go, thanks to some very generous sponsors, all of the money is going to go to my kids' school. And also the Fox Theater has a nonprofit. They do a lot of theater programs in elementary schools. They help restore historic theaters. So we're going to split the money between the Fox and my kids' school. And if you will please go on and save the date, we should be launching ticket sales, I think, next week. to get this done. It'll be July 12th. Doors open at 6 p.m., and it will be 2 hours of me regaling you with the stories that I cannot tell on radio. It's the Not Safe for Radio show, and we would love to have you. If you will, just put it on your calendar, July 12th. I don't care where you are in the country. You want to fly to Atlanta, have a night of me on stage. Probably will never happen again. These stories are fantastic stories. I'm struggling now to come up with all sorts of new stories because Philip and Charlie have heard so many of them, and I want it to be boring for them. But also, my sisters are going to be there. But more importantly, my wife and kids are going to be there. And my wife, for the entirety of my time in public life, I can only recall her coming to one or two events. She typically she's home with the kids because it happens during the school year and stuff. But this one we're scheduling during the summer, so my wife can be there because we're also inviting some longtime friends who we never get to see. And so my wife is going to be there, and I can tell these stories on stage. It'll be a fun time. July 12th, all the money goes to charity. It's not going to my pocket. I had some great sponsors to help me cover the costs, which I will start naming them and proclaiming them here shortly when we get everything finalized. But please save the date, July 12th. I'm looking forward to it. The Not Safe for Radio show, a one-time event, me on stage for 2 hours in Atlanta, in the Egyptian Ballroom at the fabulous Fox Theater, July 12th. I would love to have you. Now, let me go to Hakeem. I'm going to take your phone call next. Welcome to the show, Hakeem. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Eric?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I know this may not be for radio, but I'm going to say this. It's concerning the case of the Camilo Anthony.
Who now?
Camilo Anthony. Young
Oh,
man
okay.
who stabbed
Okay. Yeah.
African-American who stabbed the boy in the chest in the schools. I'm an African-American. Well, I'm a black American. And I need to say this. There's so many African-American kids right now killing each other left and right. Nobody says nothing. This kid stabs a white boy in the chest, raises close to $500,000 to get out. And people act like he's done something, like it was justified, like it was okay because he done it to a white child. Now, this parent lost their child. And now it seems like though we've been given, here's the issue, and I'm going to let you speak on this. The African Americans, we need a boogeyman. The red man's the boogeyman now. We need boogeyman because if we realize there's no boogeyman, maybe we'll start focusing on ourselves more. Maybe just start focusing on ourselves more. People are telling us what the politicians coming. It's the red man. It's the millionaires, the billion. If you notice, these politicians say, "Oh, it's the billionaires because they're millionaires. They're millionaires." So they say it's the billionaire cronies. They don't say the millionaire crony because they're talking about themselves. It just comes a time when there's no boogeyman. It is time to reflect about our schools, our kids killing each other, and if a kid, regardless of what race it is, it's wrong. It's wrong. More money was raised for the boy who stabbed the young man than for the one who got stabbed. And African Americans are acting like, "Oh, it's cool. It's okay." It's not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay.
Akeem, I feel the passion in your voice, and let me talk about this one because I was going to get into this later. So let me get into this one now, and thank you for putting it on the radar. If you're not familiar with this case, it's Memorial High School. It is in Texas, in Frisco, Texas. And it was a young man stabbed in the chest. And it's kind of a horrific situation. Austin Metcalf was 17 years old. And he was stabbed by Carmelo Anthony, also 17 years old. Originally, bond was set at $1 million. The judge reduced it to $250,000. And Anthony's family started a fundraiser on Give, Sin, Go and raised over $431,000. They claim the narrative being spread as false, unjust, and harmful. As a family of faith, we are deeply grateful for all of your support during this trying period. Your prayers and assistance mean more to us than ever. Metcalf, I'm going to read to you now from USA Today. The killing happened the morning of April 2nd during a track meet at Frisco Independent School District's Kuykendall Stadium. Metcalf was a student at Memorial High School and was participating in a track meet that day. A witness called for help around 10 a.m. A school resource officer was first to arrive. The officer recalled telling Anthony to put his hands up, to which the teen allegedly replied, "I was protecting myself." Anthony said Metcalf put his hands on him, admitted to stabbing Metcalf, and said he's going to be okay. During the investigation, one witness said he was sitting under Memorial High School tent with the team, and Metcalf and Anthony were sitting nearby, according to an affidavit. Anthony, who was not a member of the team, was sitting under the team's tent. That's when Metcalf told Anthony he needed to move. Anthony grabbed his bag, opened it, and reached inside and proceeded to tell Metcalf, "Touch me and see what happens." Metcalf then touched Anthony, who told Metcalf to punch him and see what happens. Metcalf grabbed Anthony again and told him to get from under the team's tent. Then Anthony pulled out a knife and stabbed Metcalf once in the chest before running away, the witness said. Metcalf grabbed at his chest and told people to get help. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Metcalf's family started through multiple fundraisers, have garnered $530,000. Anthony's family is screaming racism, it seems, and claiming problems. Wasn't their son. We know he stabbed Metcalf to death. Metcalf's father found out about his son's stabbing when a coach called him. He recalled seeing his son on the gurney. He's still in shock, he says. "I pray that maybe there's changes made as far as security. Maybe we can learn from this and try to turn a tragedy into something positive to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else's child." His brother was holding him, trying to hold the blood in. "My son watched his brother die." He said he had forgiven the person who stabbed his son, adding that he feels sorry for his son's killer because he had made a mistake that would change his life forever. It's going to be taken away. It's a tragedy. It is. It absolutely is. And immediately, people are screaming racism. Immediately screaming that there's got to be some explanation. The explanation is we live in a fallen world. We are all sinners, and this kid made a terrible mistake. The eyewitnesses at the scene show that Metcalf was trying to get the guy who was not on the team to leave the team tent. And the guy stabbed Metcalf, and instead, what do we have? A bunch of people screaming, "Well, there must be something else to the story. Surely it can't be that. Let's raise money for the killer's family." I feel bad for the killer's family. Their son murdered someone. They can't take that back. Trying to excuse it and the like, they can't take it back. But, you know, everybody these days in this country wants a villain, and they want to be a victim too. Sort of my frustrations with so much in politics these days as well, that so many people want to be a victim now. Everyone wants to be a victim. It's always someone else's fault. It's never their fault. There's no accountability. We see this constantly. The people who come out and lie. I saw someone the other day who was upset because the AI feature on Twitter was listing this person as a leader of misinformation on health on Twitter. I can't believe this, and yet the person is. But how dare it expose me as a leader of misinformation? Y'all, people don't want to take ownership of their problems anymore. People don't want to recognize that they've screwed up, that they were bad, that they were wrong. People don't want to do it anymore. And on the race factor, progressives, the wokes, ever since the George Floyd situation, have made it so easy for so many people to be duped into believing there's this big bad white guy who's responsible for all your problems, and we can blame that guy. That guy is responsible, and abdicate responsibility. You can't keep abdicating responsibility, making excuses. As Hakeem said, that started off this phone call. The idea that there's a boogeyman out there. At some point, the boogeyman is you yourself, and you're staring at yourself in a mirror. It's not other people. And this willful failure to take responsibility for your own problems, it's one of the reasons so many people have embraced conspiracy theories now. They'd rather blame a conspiracy theory than take responsibility for themselves. It's got to be the latent racism. It can't be my kid murdered someone. Horrible for the family. Horrible for all of them. God bless the victim's family for forgiving the killer. It's a Christian spirit. But we live in a post-Christian world, and people would rather find blame on someone else than take responsibility for themselves. And that is the real crisis in the country. We don't have an economic crisis. We don't have a political crisis. We have a spiritual crisis in this country, and people are looking for political saviors for spiritual problems, and too much of the church is absent from the scene. Now, on the political problems we have groups like Americans for Prosperity fighting for common sense conservative reforms, and they would love to have you involved. All you have to do is go to americansforprosperity.org today. Americans for Prosperity is the largest leading grassroots group in the country. They happen to be on the conservative side, and they fight for common sense conservative solutions for families, for small businesses, for individuals. They fight for tax cuts. They fight for deregulation. They fight for school choice. They fight for all these things because they understand that a smaller government is a better government, a more efficient government that does small things well is a government we can trust. And so they want to deregulate. They want to pass things like the REINS Act to rein in the regulatory state. They want to pass school choice. And right now they're fighting for President Trump's common sense tax reforms. And they're leading the charge in D.C. to rally Republicans to do the right thing on that. They'd love to have you in the fight. They'd love to just educate you and teach you and tell you what's going on and make it easy for you to explain it to your friends and family. Just go to americansforprosperity.org today. americansforprosperity.org. Americans for Prosperity around the country in every state. They're working to advance freedom, and they'd love to have you on their side.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
150 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. That stall we had in the cab, 285 southbound, the inner loop, Lawrenceville Highway, exit number 38, has been moved off to the side. All lanes are back open. They held all lanes to do so, but again, all lanes back open, so things will improve there. If you're traveling into Cobb County, 75 northbound, a few brake lights from South Marietta Parkway up into Kennesaw near Chastain Road, and heads up for a crash on Roswell Road, east or northbound, just east of Marietta and east of I-75 near Robinson Road. Delays are in place there. This report brought to you by Active Pest Control. Mosquitoes are annoying and can be dangerous. Let Active Pest Control help keep your yard mosquito-free year-round. For your $69 initial mosquito control service, visit ActivePestControl.com today. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
The news of the day through the eyes of Eric Von Hessler.
It's the only way to do any kind of reform of the federal government.
If it's on your mind, it's on his.
I don't remember.
Eric Von Hessler. Today at 3.
Who are you speaking for?
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
April showers bring May flowers, but they may also lead to water inside your home. Dave Baker here for Findlay Roofing. The roof guys. Rain means trouble for your roof. And when it does, think of Findlay first. The perfect match for any roofing issue. And with Findlay, manners matter. They'll treat your home like it's their own with 5-star exceptional service. Plus, Findlay offers upfront pricing, 0% financing, and a free roof analysis. FindlayRoofing.com. Roof.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
It's your money. Get it sooner. All you need is direct deposit with a checking or savings account at Coosa Valley Credit Union. This is Andy Harris, president of Coosa Valley Credit Union. Not only can you get your money sooner, but we believe in kinder banking where you deal with real people in person. So come see us.
Want to get paid twice when selling your home? With Orchard, you can. Get cash up front to buy your dream home, and when your old home sells for top dollar, that's payday number 2. Get a free home valuation at Orchard.com or call 1-844-421-SELL.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
This is Window Nation, your source for affordable replacement windows at the highest quality. So if your old windows have you boiling in the summer and freezing in the winter, you need the pros at Window Nation with installation precision and experience that are second to none. Their custom windows are guaranteed to be a perfect fit, and they're backed by the best warranty in the industry. Go to getwindownation.com for your free estimate. And for a limited time, buy 4 windows, get 4 free, plus no interest for 2 years.
Hey, it's Belinda, and April showers brought me mosquitoes. And thankfully, Arrow Exterminators came to the rescue with their environmentally friendly and effective treatments. Family owned and operated for over 61 years, Arrow Exterminators offers a 100% customer satisfaction guarantee and free pest inspections for your home or office. Take back your yard this spring. Call 888-GO-ARROW or visit arrowexterminators.com. And don't forget to tell them Belinda sent you.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Hello there, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. The phone number 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be very happy to have you. I got to play you some data. This is from Harry Itten on CNN. You know, there is this mythology that has come about now. It is wishful thinking. I hear this all the time, and I do think at this point a lot of Democrats, they get on TV and they start saying stuff, and they hope that other people say it enough that it becomes kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, and rarely does it do so with Donald Trump. But you hear these stories all the time in the media of, I'm talking to more and more Trump supporters who are so beginning to regret voting for Donald Trump. Now, in the real world, I haven't met any. Yeah, maybe one or two, but overwhelmingly, no. I know very few people who regret voting for Donald Trump, but you listen to the TV, you listen on CNN, MSNBC, wherever, you read the New York Times, like there are so many people who voted for Donald Trump who regret voting for him. Well, we've got data, and I believe in going with data, and this is the data from Harry Itten on CNN, who actually has surveyed it and has the actual polling data to analyze as to what actually is going on and whether or not Trump supporters actually do regret voting for him.
Let's talk about Trump voters and how they feel. Do they regret their vote? I mean, this is the big question, right? I hear all these stories, all these articles. All the Trump voters, they regret what they did back in 2024. I'm here to tell you, very few of them regret what they did back in 2024. What are we talking about? Trump voters looking back at 2024. We got a new poll out. The poll was conducted this month. What percentage would change their vote to a different candidate? We're talking just 2%, just 2%. That's not even a wide spot on the road. And then there's this additional 1% who say they would rather not vote. We're talking overall under 5% might or would have changed their vote, Donald Trump voters back in 2024. And then you ask, okay, the same question to Kamala Harris voters, and it turns out the numbers are rather similar. So if there was a repeat, if folks got to be able to redo their vote that they had back in 2024, would the result be any different? I doubt it would be. I doubt it would be, or it would still be extremely close. The bottom line is, for all this talk of Trump voters regretting their vote, in the numbers, it really just doesn't show up.
Exactly. And yet you've heard it on CNN. There have been people on CNN on the roundtable discussions, on MSNBC, all over the New York Times. It is the media talking to themselves, trying to seed an idea. I think it's therapeutic talk. They're trying to tell each other that it's really not that bad. People are changing their minds and things are coming. I don't think so. In fact, there's data out there that the Democrats are actually having massive problems with young voters. I want to talk about that when we come back. I'll take your calls as well. But the Democrats are not liked. I mean, just consider this data point again, that 70-some-odd% of Americans oppose Donald Trump's tariffs, but a majority of Americans would rather Donald Trump fix the economy still than hand it back to the Democrats. That's a warning sign for the Democrats that they are deeply disliked by Americans across the country. And when you dive into the demographics, it's even more horrific for the Democrats. It's actually very, very funny. We'll get into that numbers of those data when we come back.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights, at home or at work. We'll make your happy place your own. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Hope. It's more than a word. It's a breakthrough in the making. At City of Hope, we're pushing the boundaries of science, targeting cancer at the molecular level, with teams of experts working together to personalize a treatment plan right down to your DNA with unprecedented speed, making every second count, with appointments in as little as 24 hours. City of Hope, advancing cancer care at life-saving speed. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. An employee with the Cobb County Sheriff's Office is arrested and fired after he's accused of molesting a little girl.
The suspect was a criminal justice specialist for the Sheriff's Department, where he had been employed since 2000.
44-year-old Ivan Soto Muniz is now booked in and being housed in the Cobb County Adult Detention Center without bond.
Chuck McPhillamy with Marietta Police says Munoz is charged with 2 counts of aggravated child molestation. He says Munoz was a family friend of the 8-year-old female victim in this case. She came forward to share her story with leaders at her church. That prompted the swift investigation and arrest. Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
69 degrees in Atlanta, plenty of sun the next couple of days. When do we return to the 80s? Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. A federal judge finds cause to hold Trump administration officials in criminal contempt for ignoring orders on deportation flights to El Salvador. CBS News Justice Department reporter Jake Rosen has insight on the ruling.
Because the government did not answer and listen to Judge James Boasberg's orders to turn those planes around while they were in midair, arguing that Boasberg had no authority to order those planes around and that the planes were outside of U.S. airspace. He says in a court opinion just filed right now that the government has likely committed contempt of court.
The White House says the order was oral, not written, and was not valid. Georgia businesses are feeling the impact of tariffs on Chinese imports. Georgia Chamber of Commerce President Chris Clark says they are hearing from businesses experiencing challenges from increased costs.
When you've got a small mom and pop organization on Main Street in downtown rural Georgia, and 100% of their product is an import product that they're repackaging or selling, this is going to hurt them first.
They're encouraging Georgia businesses to find alternate trade routes and stockpile goods while the 90-day tariff pause is in effect for countries excluding China. Lawmakers and advocates call for an end to high-speed chases by the Georgia State Patrol. This following a fatal crash in Little Five Points earlier this week. A news conference is set for later this afternoon at the site of that deadly crash. Rowdy groups of teenagers are turning showings of the popular new Minecraft film into chaos. After the chicken jockey appears, the teens throw popcorn, pizzas, ices, and salsa into the air and then post it to social media.
I mean, that's what it reminds me of a food fight in a lunchroom as a kid.
Brant Gully with the Spring Cinema and Tap House in Sandy Springs says it takes hours to clean up. Metro Atlanta Theater owners want parents to get involved. It is now 2:32. This news sponsored by FGA Roofing.
Believe me, warmer weather is coming, and now is the time to upgrade your deck or add to your outdoor living space. Dave Baker here. My friends at Ben Hill Renovations are experts at creating decks of all shapes and sizes. They've been doing it for over 60 years, and now is the perfect time to schedule a free at-home deck consultation at bhrenovations.com to get that new deck ready for warmer weather. Ben Hill Renovations, creating raving fans since 1964. bhrenovations.com.
For many women in our community, support for our physical and mental health feels out of reach.
When your workday is long,
and your budget is tight,
and your village is busy,
and the road between home and help is a 6-lane highway with no crosswalk.
Northside Hospital believes women deserve better.
Northside is rolling up our sleeves and getting to work.
We got your house call.
Heard.
Learn more at northside.com/heard.
Hey homeowners, it's Eric Erickson. You wouldn't trust Mac with a jack to fix your home's sinking foundation problem, would you? I certainly wouldn't. Serious issues need serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, so are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
Anyone on the roads in North Georgia knows that tractor trailers are everywhere. For my friends in the motorcycle community, a distracted big rig could change your life forever. Hey, it's Eric Von Hessler. Steel Horse Law specializes in motorcycle accidents involving trucks, and they can protect you from big corporations and their armies of lawyers. Steel Horse Law can help you get back on your feet, medical bills paid, back to work, and your case resolved. Schedule your free accident evaluation at steelhorselaw.com.
While spring in Georgia can be a more comfortable season, we all know it's a precursor to our sweltering summer. Hi, this is Daniel Jape. Make sure your air conditioning system is ready all summer long with our maintenance checkup today from Jape Services. And if you happen to need to replace an aging system, now's a great time. We have excellent financing options, rebates, and even a federal tax credit. Call us 24/7 to book your appointment or book online at japeservices.com.
Count on us, Jape Services.
It is 2:05. Alex Williams in the 24-hour traffic center.
Few brake lights in DeKalb and Norcross area, 85 north and southbound between 285 and Jimmy Carter Boulevard. Just volume though, no crashes in your way. Looks like we're working to crash out of Lawrenceville, 316 westbound just before Sugarloaf Parkway. That's why you're seeing some brake lights leaving Riverside Parkway. And don't forget about that crash in Cobb County, Roswell Road, east to northbound, right around between Robinson Road and Barnes Mill Road. That's why you're seeing delays leaving North-South Marietta Parkway, east of I-75. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunny skies and mild today. High 71. Lows tonight in the mid-40s. Tomorrow, sunshine. High 76. Back in the mid-80s by Friday.
67 Mableton, 70 in College Park, 68 in Johns Creek. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Greetings and welcome. It's Eric Erickson here across the fruited plain of America. I'm glad to have you with me from coast to coast. 877-973-7425 is how you get on the program. If you wish to text the word Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, you get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast, all that great stuff. Remember, if you're a subscriber to the show notes, a paid subscriber, you're going to get first access to the Not Safe for Radio show tickets. They'll go on sale in the next week, and paid subscribers will have first access, first dibs to those tickets. It's going to be a fun time in Atlanta in July. All the things I can't talk about on radio, I can talk about on stage. I want to go back to full circle to the beginning, to the folks who were 30 feet over the runway. That would be the Democratic Party. They're having some problems. I'm a big fan of the Spectator World. Ben Domenech is the editor-at-large there. He runs the U.S. edition. It is the world's oldest magazine. And Ryan Gerdusky, who I think writes at the Daily Wire as well, he has a piece about the Democrats' voter problem. And it is definitely something that we need to consider, because the data kind of speaks for itself. And here's one reason. Why would I talk about this on my program? Well, I have a broad audience. Now, I don't really say that to brag. It's just the reality is because I am a conservative, I was an elected Republican. Yeah, I got myself elected to office, worst job in my life. I friendly with Trump's side, willing to criticize Trump's side, so I'm not MAGA, which makes me more approachable to people who might be more independent. And if you're on the left and you're curious, well, you can tune in here and kind of figure out what's going on. So I can talk about the Democrats' problems, and you and I can laugh at the Democrats' problems, but also people on the left might learn something about their own party and the problem. And they do have real problems. I've mentioned David Shore before. I've talked about some of his data. Ryan Gerdusky has broken down some of the extra data in the Spectator World. If you subscribe to the show notes, you can text data to 33777. This was in the show notes today at the Spectator World. Let me read you part of this. Data scientist David Shore has a message for Democrats. Your problem with young men is worse than you think. Shore is a respected and highly reputable Democratic data guru. He's released his autopsy of the 2024 election and why Kamala Harris lost. Unlike previous analysis, which primarily used exit polling, Shore's company, Blue Rose Research, looked at the polls, precinct-level returns, and voter file data to figure out who turned on the Democrats and why. Democrats comforted themselves in the wake of their election loss by insisting that if more people had voted, Harris would have been sworn as the 47th president. For decades, it's been true that Democrats win high-turnout elections while Republicans win low-turnout elections. But that's false, according to Shore's analysis. Had every American voted, Trump would have not only won the Electoral College, he would have won the popular vote by nearly 5 points instead of 1.4 points. Trump probably would have flipped Maine, Virginia, New Jersey, Minnesota, New Hampshire, and Nevada. That's not the only Democratic narrative violation Shore commits in his research. A lot of ink was spilled during the past year over the manosphere, the college-age white bros who listened to Joe Rogan, Legion of Skanks, Theo Vaughn, and Tim Dillon and loved Trump. Democrats believed they were losing these voters, but never considered by how much. According to Shore, the actual numbers are a lot worse than people think. Now, pay attention to this. This is the key nugget here. According to his data, only 25% of white men under the age of 20 voted for Harris, worse than any other demographic by age and race. White men over the age of 70 were more likely to vote for Harris than those who can't legally buy a beer. White men under 20, the ones who missed important life events because of COVID lockdowns, are the most Republican generation since their great-grandparents who fought in World War II. Harris also lost white women and non-white men under 20. The only voters willing to buy into her promises were non-white women, the type the Democratic Party speaks to almost exclusively. When you look at how Trump did in all three of the elections he fought, he benefited enormously from anti-Hillary voters who chose to stay at home or vote for Gary Johnson in 2016. These mostly white moderates were also the group most likely to flip to Joe Biden in 2020 and back to Trump in 2024. They make up almost all the movement among white voters during the last decade. A larger share of the vote from white Americans accounts for half of Trump's increase in the popular vote from 2020 to 2024, when his numbers increased from 46.8 to 49.8%. Trump could not have won last year without increasing his share among white moderates. But the other half of the equation was his support from non-white voters. If there's any story over the past decade that will send ripples into the future of U.S. politics, it's that a large share of minorities have stopped voting with their race and started voting with their ideology. Harris lost a large chunk of the Clinton coalition. Nearly 1 in 4 moderate Hispanics, 1 in 7 moderate Asians, and 1 in 2 conservative Hispanics who supported the Democratic Party's nominee less than a decade ago. These minorities provided Trump with the extra 1.5% share he needed to win the popular vote and flip every swing state in the country. Trump's support came from people who don't make politics the center of their lives and get their news from social media, especially TikTok. Social media, free of the gatekeeping of traditional media, helped open the floodgates not only to Trump but to a generalized distrust of Democrats. The only important issue that Democrats are trusted on more than Republicans now is health care. On nearly every other vital issue, Republicans win. Shore's data, Ryan Grodowski concludes, suggests Democrats don't have a 2028 problem. They have a 2032 problem and beyond. Democrats' increased support among high-propensity voters and seniors may bode well for them in the next election, but long-term, they got a lot of votes to do. Now, a lot of work to do. I will tell you this up front. When we believe that demography is destiny, it oftentimes is not so. And Republicans should be very careful not to fall into the trap Democrats fell into in the 70s, thinking the days of the GOP were coming to an end as the number of white people in the country shrank, the number of non-white people grew. The GOP, it was a matter of time before they were a minority party that couldn't win anything because of skin color. That's not true. And it's not going to be true for the GOP that they can hold this coalition. There's no such thing as permanence in politics. To be frank with you, and not to beat a dead horse and get on your bad side, but this is one of my problems with tariffs, because I know economically how they play out. And one of the main reasons Donald Trump has such commanding performance from young people right now is because the young people coming of age and starting out got into Joe Biden's economy. COVID shut them down. They don't blame Donald Trump. They blame China. They blame the elite. And they blame the academic researchers who refused to acknowledge shutdowns were a bad idea as long as they were 2 weeks to stop the spread, became 2 years to stop the spread, became people are still in masks today. Young people are furious about it. They're furious with a wrecked economy. They're furious with the Democrats not listening to the people who told them that it was going to hurt them economically. They're furious about it. And that's my concern with tariffs, is the same voices who warned the Democrats about not recklessly spending because they would cause inflation are warning Donald Trump about tariffs and what tariffs will do to the economy. So this could blow up on the Republicans. And right now the Republicans are in the prime seat to fix things for the young. You know, one of the reasons people support tariffs is they want to restore manufacturing to this country. But there's a corollary here people miss the polling. The people who want to restore manufacturing to this country, they don't actually want to work in the factories. They're convinced other people do. Only 10% of Americans work in manufacturing jobs right now. Where are you going to find the people to staff the factories when you bring them back? Because people don't want to work in the factories. It's wish casting. That's why I'm just really concerned with the direction of the tariffs right now, because the GOP has an opportunity to lock in the young for a very long time. Advertisers in radio, they care about the 25 to 54-year-old demographic. When you get outside 54, you don't matter in radio. In fact, I used to have a boss. When someone would call in and complain about me on the radio, he'd ask them their age. If they were over 54, he did not care one bit what they thought. Advertisers really like the 25 to 35-year-old demographic, because if you start buying a product as a 25-year-old, the odds are you're going to keep buying that product for the rest of your life. Think about your paper towel brand. Think about your toilet paper brand. Everybody goes to a grocery store and they buy a brand. Do you buy Gain? Do you buy Tide for detergent? Do you buy Northern? Do you buy Angel Soft? Do you buy what's the Cottonelle? Which one do you buy? Charmin? Which ice cream brand do you buy? When you're in your early 20s, you start having some income, you start picking brands. And when you get into 35, the 35 to 54 is where the advertisers really love it. Those are the people with money. And you can upgrade their concern. So you're buying the cheap toilet paper as a 25-year-old. You get to 35, you're buying the more expensive toilet paper. But you're locking in as a 20-something your purchases for the rest of your life. And you know what the data shows? Your politics do the same thing. You start voting Republican as a 20-something. The Republican Party keeps doing good things for you. Pretty soon you're going to become a Republican. And you're going to lock in, and you're going to be a yellow dog Republican. You'd rather vote for a yellow dog than a Democrat. That's the problem if the economy doesn't settle down, is these people, these young people in their 20s, are still amenable to shifting brands. And once they shift a brand, they rarely come back to the first brand. That's why I'm concerned about tariffs. I don't want the Democrats to come back. And if the tariffs go badly, as I think they will, and as economists think they will, and as historically tariffs have always gone, you're going to lose these young people to the Democrats. And right now they're up for grabs, but they're voting for you. You fix the economy for them, you provide for them, they're going to stick with you. the Democrats have massive problems headed into the next 10 years. And the biggest problem is not something Ryan Gerdusky mentions. He mentions Democrats don't have a 2028 problem. They have a 2032 problem and beyond. 2030 is why the Democrats have a real problem. Because whoever gets elected in 2030, and that's going to be an off-year election, whoever gets elected in 2030 is going to draw the congressional districts and the state legislative districts for the next decade, from 2030 to 2040. And with the demographic trends headed in the GOP's direction in a way Democrats never thought it would, Democrats could really be shut out for the next 20 years in government. It could happen. But you got to avoid a recession, and you got to rebound the economy. And that's my concern with the tariffs right now. I can kind of see the chance of this playing out poorly for the GOP unless they make some changes right now. A change is still possible. But the bottom line for Democrats is they're not trusted by anyone. They're not even trusted by Democratic Party members. People are willing to give Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt. And again, I go back to this polling from Gallup, and it shows that overwhelming majority of Americans don't want the tariffs. They think they're a bad idea. But a majority, over 50%, still want Donald Trump to be the one to fix the economy, not Democrats. That shows me, the way I interpret that data, as someone who's run campaigns and had to analyze this data before, is that voters don't like the direction Donald Trump is on, but they still want to give him a chance. They want to go back to the Democrats. So if Trump changes course for the better and the markets rebound and the recession threat recedes because of his change of course, they're going to give him the credit. They're going to keep him in power. The Democrats are going to be more and more isolated and marginalized, and that's what we should all want. Democrats in power would be a dangerous thing.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
220 Coldway Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Slow out of Buckhead into Midtown on 400 southbound. Seeing some brake lights from Lennox Road. Trying to get onto 85 southbound. Just that volume for the afternoon heading into Midtown and downtown. Northbound sluggish. University Avenue up past Peachtree, Pine Street. And right lane construction just cleared up in the Alpharetta area heading up to Forsyth County. 400 northbound past Windward Parkway, exit 11. That was in the right lane. Still slow Roswell Road eastbound in Cobb County heading out to Robinson Road where a crash is in the clearing stages. Traffic brought to you by the Georgia Lottery. Hey Georgia, Mega Millions just got an upgrade. Now with bigger jackpots, better odds to win, and a built-in multiplier on every ticket. Drawings every Thursday and Friday. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
When you need to know.
This story is developing in Atlanta.
When you want to know.
Severe weather is on its way.
When you have to know.
We'll alert you as soon as this closure clears.
Get notifications
from your source for news.
Get the WSB radio app.
Download it from your app store today.
Harmony in our relationships feels incredible, but harmony is only achieved by committing to certain behaviors that don't always feel incredible. In order to experience harmony, you have to overlook offenses, you have to absorb some mistreatment, you have to have difficult conversations, admit and work on your own shortcomings, and you have to forgive. Look, I know you can do it, and I know it's worth it. This is Tom Gray, and This Stuff Matters.
ThisStuffMatters.net.
Hi, I'm David Nicholas, financial advisor and president of Nicholas Wealth Management. It's hard to imagine, but one day in retirement, your income will stop. You may have been working for 30 or 40 years, but now you'll have to depend on the money you've saved for the next 30 years. How do you know if you've saved enough? What does it mean to spend confidently in retirement? One of the worst things that you can do is get to retirement and not know how much income your investments can produce. At Nicholas Wealth, we created a plan that will show you what your investments can potentially generate in dividends, interest, and growth in retirement. We call this our Spend Confidently plan. When's the best time to turn on Social Security? What are some of the best dividend-paying stocks available? Our CPAs and CFPs will show you what your income number is and how a diversified portfolio of income-producing investments could potentially provide you consistent monthly income. Our Retire Ready Income Report is a $1,000 value. We'll provide it completely complimentary if you've saved more than $250,000 for retirement and you give us a call in the next 10 minutes. Number to call is 404-890-5606. That's 404-890-5606. 5606, or you can go to nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth is an independent financial services firm that uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for informational purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives or the financial situation and the needs of any person. This is a paid advertisement.
The foods we eat can be downright bad for our health. This is Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've been teaching the truth about real bread. Not the stuff you buy at the store. I'm talking real bread made with freshly milled flour. When you buy bread from the store, take a look at the ingredients. Enriched flour means that the nutritious bran and germ has been removed to improve the shelf life. Then a few B vitamins and iron are added back to replace the multitude of nutrients lost. That's not enrichment in my book. And today, that label may even read contains bioengineered food ingredients. Food should never be bioengineered. At Bread Beckers in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real bread loaded with fiber and nutrients. A delicious, healthy, affordable solution that can improve your health and change your life. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
Hey, folks, it's Shelley Winter here. You know, sometimes they make fun of me around the office because I doze off at my desk while doing show prep. Well, you know why that happened? It's because of a lack of sleep. I have sleep apnea. So if you snore or have sleep apnea also, you're not living life to the fullest. So listen up. I know you're tired, but in all seriousness, this is important. My friends over at Palmetto Sleep are changing lives with a custom-fit oral appliance that stops your snoring and treats sleep apnea. I'm not talking about something you buy out of a supermarket. This is a custom-made for your mouth and covered by your private medical insurance. What I love most is that they do everything from the diagnosis to the delivery of the oral appliance and everything in between. They even provide a take-home sleep study and virtual consults. If you're ready for a great night's sleep, you are ready for Palmetto Sleep. Go to palmettosleep.com. That's palmettosleep.com right now. Don't suffer from another sleepless night. palmettosleep.com.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
You can be live on Eric's show by calling 877-97-ERIC. That's 877-973-7425.
Welcome back. It's Eric Erickson. Let's go to Lafayette, Louisiana, and David on the phone. Welcome to the show. David, how are you?
I am doing excellent, Eric. I appreciate you letting me on. I'm just a dumb Cajun from Lafayette. I'm not a
Oh, that
lawyer.
means you're a good cook.
Well, as my
David?
cousin Vinny numerous times. And I know that the Judge Boasberg actually is the judge that presided over that case in My Cousin Vinny. That's where I recognize the guy from. But
yeah.
I've got the
What is a grit?
perfect Eric. I've got the perfect way for Trump to. I mean, this is the foolproof way for him to basically end the problems he's having with all these federal judges. What he needs to do first off is. There's two things. First, he needs to issue blanket pardons for everybody in his administration from the day he was sworn in until at least, I'd say, 21, 25. Just give it a solid 100 years. And then next, he needs to have that signed by AutoPen. And that will end everything. And he'll be able to sail through following the Constitution in using the executive branch to do everything he wants. So that's my
pardon them
idea.
all.
And like
But
I said, I'm not a lawyer.
I mean, it may ought to. And by the way, David, I got to say that's actually a very funny but good idea. He ought to. Thanks for the call. Can Boasberg even do this? Because the Supreme Court said that case needed to be filed in Texas, not Boasberg's court. So there's a whole venue problem there. I don't know that Boasberg is going to get his way, and I don't know that the court is going to give Boasberg what he wants. I don't know that John Roberts is going to go down the road of giving a judge what he wants against Donald Trump when that Supreme Court has already told the lower court that case should not have even been brought in his court. I don't know if they can do it. By the way, the Department of Homeland Security, you should note on the Garcia matter, the illegal alien the Democrats have gone to rescue, they have just tweeted this. Kilmar Abrego Garcia has a history of violence and was not the upstanding Maryland man the media portrayed him as. According to court filings, Garcia's wife sought a domestic violence restraining order against him, claimed he punched, scratched, and ripped off her shirt, among other things. The MS-13 gang member is not a sympathetic figure. That's from the Department of Homeland Security's account. Now, let me tell you about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm, because right now you can get 3 of them and save $200. You go to EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3. It's an air purifier, and it traps pollen, pet dander, dust, you name it, without a filter subscription, filterless. And then as the air flows through it, it touches plasma, which wipes out 99.9% of the bacteria and viruses, and then it generates ozone, which wipes out all the odors. No odor can stand up to the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. I don't actually use it as an air purifier. I use it as an odor eliminator. If I'm in a hotel room and someone smoked in there or a rental car, you can plug it up with a USB cord and a USB outlet, even in a laptop, or you can plug it directly into the wall, and it just works. And it wipes out odors. You can get 3 of them. Save $200. They're so small, you fit it in the palm of your hand, keep it in a travel bag. Upstairs, downstairs, your basement, wherever you need them. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3, at EdenPureDeals.com.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's news and talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top story. The Trump administration could be held in criminal contempt of court for violating orders to turn around planes carrying deportees to El Salvador. Legal analyst Lori Levinson explains the federal judge's ruling.
Judge Boasberg in Washington, D.C. has found that there is probable cause to hold the Trump administration officials in criminal contempt because they violated his order in mid-March when he said, do not deport those Venezuelans using the Alien Enemies Act.
The Trump administration says it is planning to appeal. A criminal justice specialist with the Cobb County Sheriff's Office is fired after he's arrested on child sex charges. Ivan Munoz was arrested today after a little girl said she had been molested.
An 8-year-old had the courage to come forward to her church and share with adults there that she had been inappropriately touched and molested by an adult, an actual family friend.
Officer Chuck McPhillamy with Marietta Police says Munoz is charged with 2 counts of aggravated child molestation. WSB Money update: stocks sharply lower after the chairman of the Federal Reserve says he expects inflation to rise and economic growth to slow due to tariffs. At this hour, the Dow is down close to 600 points. The NASDAQ is down more than 3%. The suspected arson at the Pennsylvania governor's residence will be investigated as a possible hate crime. Governor Josh Shapiro says this cannot be tolerated.
This kind of violence has no place in our society, regardless of what motivates it. This is not how we resolve our differences.
The district attorney believes suspect Cody Balmer targeted Shapiro for his Jewish faith. He's been a staunch supporter of Israel. It is now 2:32. This news is sponsored by Bread Beckers.
Hey, it's Scott Slade for FGA Roofing. If your home's exterior could use an updated look, or maybe one of your neighbor's designer roofs has caught your eye, and your current roof has started to show its age, then now's the perfect time to check out FGA Roofing for the latest in architectural shingles, timberland shingles, and more. Slate, tile, wood shake, cedar roofs, FGA has them all. FGA Roofing offers 0% financing for 12 months with your good credit. Get the roof you want now and pay over time. Click firstgaroof.com. That's firstgaroof.com.
Guys, if you're having ED or performance issues and Viagra and Cialis haven't worked, you need to come see Choice Men's Health. Give us a call or visit us online at choicemenshealth.com. Get your love life back and choose Choice Men's Health.
Don't ignore any cracked bricks or concrete, floor or wall gaps, or bowed walls. You could be ignoring underlying foundation problems, and that will hurt the value of your home. Foundation problems? Visit AquaGuard.net today and book your free inspection.
AquaGuard. At Coosa Valley Credit Union, we're committed to saving our members money by offering the most competitive interest rates in the market. Now, auto loan rates are as low as 4.49 APR. But if you open an account with a direct deposit, we'll knock your rate down a whole %, as low as 3.49 APR. This is Andy Harris, president of Coosa Valley Credit Union. Save money on your auto loan and experience kinder banking at a branch near you.
Contact 706-235-8551 for more details. Equal Opportunity Lender.
It's Eric Erickson here. Every single day now, I deal with a malicious request to click a link. My daughter the other day got a text message some of you have probably gotten. Click on it and pay your toll, and it's just a scam. All these things keep happening. They're preying upon the young, senior citizens, and you and me. But there's good news. Vision Computer is here to help you. If you have their managed service, you're never alone, and in just 15 seconds, expert tech support is at your fingertips, ready to protect you from online threats, scams, and computer problems. And you don't have to take my word for it. We're a Vision Computer household, but they've got thousands of five-star reviews beyond my household reviews, but I'd give them 5 stars too. They've got thousands and thousands of five-star reviews because they're simply the best. Call them at 404-COMPUTE today or visit them online at visioncomputers.com, because when it comes to your security, you can't afford to wait. Vision will take care of you. Tell them I sent you. Call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com.
At 2:34, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Already a brake light battle heading into Midtown this afternoon. Bill, 85 southbound jams in right at the Georgia 400 merge, and the brake lights continue on the connector southbound through Midtown and downtown. Better news in Cobb County. That earlier crash we had heading toward East Cobb on Roswell Road eastbound near Robinson Road, that has wrapped up. And the right lane construction cleared up into cab I-20 eastbound between Wesley Chapel Road and Panola Road. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Sunny and 71 today, 76 tomorrow. Right now it's 66 in Kennesaw, 69 in Conyers, 67 in Fairburn. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
Smart, fearless, and occasionally funny. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Hello and welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America, and I am delighted to have you with me. So, a lot of people are claiming some sort of conspiracy. Look, she was making sense. They had to go to commercial break. No, that's not really what it was. It was time to go to commercial break. I'm sure. I haven't been on the show, but I kind of know how these things work. Whoopi Goldberg said something profound on The View. I know. I can't remember the last time I played a clip on The View, except to mock it. And this one is actually, just listen to Whoopi Goldberg.
What we have to always do, regardless of who you voted for, you still got to pay your rent, you still got to take care of your kids, you still got to take care of your business. And maybe some of what's happening, like, they're trying to take apart the Department of Education. Yes. Maybe that is a good thing, because maybe it will force us to make sure that our kids actually get what they need. Maybe it'll force us to go to our state and say, listen, I want to make sure, since you're taking all this money from my taxes, I want to make sure that my kids get exactly what they need. I don't have to wait for the government to do it. We can do it. This is now in our hands. This is in our hands, and it's going to be tough, and nobody wants to do it because it's a... But you know what? If it comes down to your survival, this is what you got to do. You got to take care of what you got to take care of. And they're telling me that we're going to be right back.
Yeah. Whoopi Goldberg on The View announces that, if they're going to cut money from the Department of Education, maybe it's a good thing because it'll get us more involved. Yeah, thank you for being a conservative. That is the conservative argument she stumbled into, that the government makes you dependent on the government, and when the government gives up the money and stops funding the money, you got to take control. Do you know the secret to the good public schools in America? There are good public schools in America. We oftentimes in school choice, we don't talk about them, but there are good public schools in the United States. And do you know what the key identifier of a good public school is? Parental involvement. We have some friends we go to church with. They're the only people in our group of friends at church, I think, who sent their kids to public school. Their kids were able to get into a special advanced program, and the parents were very hands-on the whole way through school. They were deeply involved. I remember my mom one time, I think I was in 10th grade, showed up to a PTA meeting, called it a PTO meeting in Louisiana, parent-teacher organization. And there were not a lot of parents at the meeting. They didn't do much. There wasn't a lot of parental involvement. My parents, pretty hands-off with my education. I was actually, I was the nerd. They didn't have to stay on me for the most part. But when we lived overseas, I mean, all the parents had to be involved in the school. It was a great school with great teachers, and all the kids were smart kids. But I got to tell you, the good public schools, parental involvement. But this goes to everything in life. So on Friday, if you're new to this program, and most of you listening now are actually new to the program, we talk about higher level things. We talk politics and stuff, but at a higher level, because it's Good Friday. It is the anniversary of the most important date in human history, the most important event in human history. You talk to even secular scholars at Harvard and Oxford, and they've done these surveys at Harvard and Oxford, and even Chinese universities and French and universities and Germans, and they ask them, what are the most important events in human history? And they'll talk about Alexander conquering the known world, Caesar crossing the Rubicon. They'll talk about the Chinese-Japanese fighting, but almost all of them in the top 5, and many of them the top 1, say the killing of a carpenter in Jerusalem 2,000 years ago, because the rise of Christianity just profoundly upended the world. And one of the things that Jesus said was to go into the world, and as you go, witness, you preach, teach, baptize in his name. And it was the church originally that set up these charitable institutions that cared for people. That a lot of the original doctors came from churches. Universities were derived from churches. They preserved Western knowledge during the Dark Ages, and they were actively involved. Well, as government grew and replaced churches, churches receded. And now a lot of nonprofits in the world are funded by the government. And the churches have an evangelistic mission to share Christ, but it's notable it tends to be progressive denominations that are the ones running the soup kitchens and the food banks. And the evangelical ones, they send their kids on missionary trips. And as people have become more dependent on government for their nonprofits, and as people have become more dependent on government for their paycheck, as people become more dependent on government for their way of life, they outsource everything to government, and the government has to also become a babysitter. Whoopi Goldberg is right. You defund the Department of Education, you, the parent, are going to have to spend more time fighting for your kids. You defund the Department of Education, you're going to have to be more involved at the state level. By the way, education is a state function. The Constitution of the United States gives limited powers to Washington, D.C. Article 1, Section 8. You won't find educating the people in there. You find that in the state constitutions, because education, the police power, the healthcare power, the police power, the education, they're all state powers at the state level, the 50 states. So you should be getting involved there. But people have had all this money flood in from Washington, D.C., and Washington so prominently sets standards for education and the like that people just rely on Washington. They abdicate their own responsibility, even to their own children's education, to Uncle Sam. We've got to get off Uncle Sam's man boob, frankly. Everybody's suckling Uncle Sam's teat. You can't. If we are to survive as a nation, there is some breaking news. Jerome Powell, who is the chairman of the Federal Reserve, has said that the American debt levels now are in crisis level. That is Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve. Federal debt is on an unstable path. We are running crisis level deficits at full employment. That is Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve. We've been headed in this direction for a while. We knew it was coming, and perhaps we should cut federal spending. There's a big fight in Washington this week over National Public Radio and public broadcasting. Donald Trump is asking Congress to rescind existing funding to public broadcasting. A rescission event, pulling money back, bypasses the filibuster. It's one of the rules in the Senate. rescission. A rescission of money, that is money already appropriated, is rescinded. And now here's the catch. If they rescind the money now, when they get to reconciliation, they can leave that money out. It's a way to save some money. And the Democrats and much of the press corps are up in arms about cutting public broadcasting, the Corporation of Public Broadcasting funding. It's only a few $1 million. We have a $35 trillion deficit. A penny saved is a penny earned, people. Listen to Ben Franklin. A few million here, a few million there. Pretty soon you've actually positively affected the deficit. You're bringing it down. But these people are like, oh, we can't cut public broadcasting. Sure you can. Write a check. You got Jeff Bezos out there. You got Mark Zuckerberg. You got Elon Musk. You got Lauren Powell Jobs. You got Bill Gates. You got Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett now has enough cash saved in Berkshire Hathaway. He can buy like 400 of the 500 stocks or companies on the Standard & Poor's Index. Led Warren Buffett fund public broadcasting. It's chump changed him. Apple Computer, they make more money in one day than the federal government spends in a year on PBS. Let them write a check. If you're so interested in funding public broadcasting, write a check yourself. Why do our taxpayer dollars need to go to it? Take matters into your own hands. If you think it's that worthwhile, and I was tweeting about this morning, people, I love my public broadcasting station. I love the music they play. I love PBS Kids. It's so good. No, PBS Kids had Caillou, and Caillou is a hell-bound child from Canada who is horrible, and his parents should have beaten him and probably sold him into human trafficking because he's a horrible, horrible human being. And the best thing that ever happened on planet Earth is Caillou finally got canceled by PBS. And the fact that PBS ever thought Caillou was worth putting on questions the judgment of the people in charge of PBS Kids, because Caillou is a horrible kid. I hate that program. My God, did I hate that program when my kids were kids. I got my kids to hate Caillou. Horrible little Canadian brat. I digress. Oh, I hated that kid. If you like PBS that much, go write a check. Get the tote bag from National Public Radio. Put the bumper sticker on your car to virtue signal that you funded it, and good for you. God bless you. Why are our tax dollars doing it? We have all these billionaires who want a virtue signal. They love it. Let them take matters into their own hands. Public education, contrary to what people say, with the Department of Education shutting down to a degree, it's not going to go away. It's just going to morph. It's going to morph. And people are going to have to take care of it themselves. People who like public broadcasting, take care of it themselves. People who like their public school, get involved yourselves. Demand more from your state. If you want to fight to raise taxes at the state level or the local level to fund your local public school system, God bless you. Go for it. I disagree, but good for you. Go for it. We've all got to stop depending on Washington, D.C. The chairman of the Federal Reserve is coming out saying that we're at crisis level spending with full employment. That's actually a very bad sign. The markets, by the way, not doing well today. You have the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying that our national debt is the biggest national security issue in this country. We have the chairman of the Federal Reserve and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff all signaling that national debt is such a very, very, very good, such a very big problem. Yes, it's a very big problem. Stop. Cut money. Cut spending. Cut the government. Fund it yourself. If you want to fund Caillou, you go fund Caillou. I don't have to watch it. But stop using my tax dollars to subsidize a Canadian brat who should be sold into human trafficking. It's the only person on planet Earth ever I would say that about. But my gosh, if you've never seen that cartoon, I mean, he is 30 feet above the runway. I mean, you know what they say when the plane is 30 feet above the runway. The R word. That is that and his whole family. They just need to be like sent somewhere into the Sahara, never to be seen again. What a horrible Canadian family. Oh, I hate that show. Nonetheless, if you want to fund it. I don't have to watch it. But stop using my taxpayer dollars to subsidize stupid Canadian cartoons about horrible children who need to be beaten, if nothing else. That kid needed a spanking. There's no reason. Whoopi Goldberg is right. Take matters into your own hands. Fight for your children's education. Show up at the schools. Be involved. But stop telling Uncle Sam to do it. Uncle Sam is broke. Uncle Sam is a deadbeat. Uncle Sam needs to get his financial house in order. The private sector in the United States is still the wealthiest on planet Earth. We have more billionaires than every other country. Surely they can step up and save your precious programs that you want. Surely they can save PBS. Surely they can save NPR. Surely you can save your child's education. You don't need Uncle Sam. And the fact that everyone, even nonprofit charities in this country, are relying on the federal government, you got to stop relying on the federal government. You got to take matters into your own hands. You got to seek the welfare of the community in which you live and pray for it, because there you'll find your welfare. And unless you live in Washington, D.C., stop obsessing about Washington, D.C. You take care of your own backyard, please, and stop making Washington do it for you. Old Glory Bank is a common sense bank. They are my bank. I want to read you my buddy Cole, who is the boss at one of my lovely radio stations in Clarksville, Georgia. He sent me this story. This relates to Old Glory Bank. After a Facebook post by a local gun shop indicated their bank closed their account, the bank and business have spoken about the situation. They said that their business interest and our business interest no longer align. The Baldwin Trading Post owner, Jeremy Whiteside, said, "So the only thing I could take that to mean, since we're exclusively a gun store, is because we sell firearms." Now, the bank, a United Community Bank, gave Access WDUN a statement on the situation, saying the Baldwin Trading Post social media post is inaccurate. United Community does not have a policy against maintaining accounts for firearm dealers. Now, it turns out, according to the gun store owner, that the bank was concerned about a suspected fraud from a customer's check, and they closed the guy's bank account for his business. This is happening around the country. Banks are closing business accounts and even consumer accounts. My daughter was scammed. She's 19. She's never handled a check in her life. Somebody sent her a check. It turned out to be scam, and her bank had to put a hold on it. But thankfully, they're not going to close her account. Federal regulators, though, for businesses are making banks do this. And so this United Community Bank is in an unfortunate situation where they're being forced to shut down a business's bank account to comply with federal rules. And Old Glory Bank is like, this is wrong. We're standing up against this. Mike Ring, the CEO, has testified in Congress about it, defying the debanking trend, saying, look, if it's not a customer's fault, we're not going to punish the customer. We will work with the customer to make it right, but we're not going to shut people's bank accounts down. Because the left, by the way, is targeting gun stores in these scams to try to trip compliance rules with the federal government to force the banks to shut down gun stores. And Old Glory Bank's like, we're not going to do that. We're going to stand up for the customers who are being scammed. We're not going to comply with a rule that hurts innocent people. And God bless them for doing it. It's why I love Old Glory Bank. It's why I do business with Old Glory Bank. And you can do business with them too. You go to oldglorybank.com. You sign up for your account. And by the way, I would tell the Baldwin Trading Post, if they're listening, Old Glory Bank can be your bank, and they will defy the debanking trends. Oldglorybank.com. You can go get your account there. You're a gun store. They'd love to do business with you. They've got great hands-on business management for businesses. Oldglorybank.com. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
251 Coolray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Really watching the volume pick up around Metro Atlanta. If you're traveling 7585 northbound, a DOT looking for a new stall up around I-20, reported to be in one of the left lanes. We're scanning the jam cam for that. Southbound, close to 20-25 minutes, heading from the 85-400 merge to I-20. And 285 eastbound, the Interloop in Dorville, seeing the brake lights fill in from Peachtree Boulevard for the ride down to Tucker in Clarkston. Traffic brought to you by the Georgia Lottery. Tonight's Powerball jackpot is $113 million. Powerball players can win millions playing in-store or online at galottery.com, only from the Georgia Lottery. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
More local news.
Wild scene at a Covington Walmart after an implosion.
More traffic.
85 south out of Brookhaven, crowded beginning past Claremont.
More weather.
The Sunnyside community may have been impacted by this tornado.
Atlanta's morning news.
Tomorrow morning
This
at
is
5.
a complicated, controversial subject.
Wake up with 95.5 WSB.
How Atlanta starts its day.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading, seeing, and living through these days, from rate cuts, election season, and now a new administration, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place. You know, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So We ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in will work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on Portfolio X-ray, or click on Full Retirement Plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-969-7766. That's 800-969-7766. Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Live stream, email, and social media links by texting Eric to 33777 now.
Y'all, I absolutely adore this story. I have saved today the best for last. David Hogg, the Democratic National Committee's vice chair, is pledging to upend Democratic primaries by funding candidates who will challenge, quote-unquote, ineffective, asleep-at-the-wheel Democrats. The move put Hogg, the now 25-year-old who first gained national stature as a survivor of the Stoneman Douglas High School shooting, on a collision course with his own party and some Democratic House members. Leaders We Deserve, which Hogg co-founded in 2023, announced plans on Tuesday to spend $20 million in safe blue Democratic primaries against sitting House members by supporting younger opponents. In an interview with Politico, Hogg said the group will not back primary challenges in battleground districts because I want us to win the majority, nor will it target members solely based on their age. Right. Essentially, he wants to push the Democratic Party left in safe districts. Remember, in 2022, the polling of Hispanic voters showed that they leaned towards the GOP because they did not like socialism. The Democratic Party has been playing it wrong ever since. It's why the Democrats are making such a big deal about the illegal immigrants in El Salvador, because they're still broken in this idea of identity politics with Hispanic voters, when Hispanic voters are the most hostile to illegal immigration. Hispanic voters are overwhelmingly conservative on the issue of illegal immigration. Why? Because they came here legally. They came here as legal resident aliens of this country. They became citizens. They put in the work. They don't like people jumping ahead, skipping the line, and crossing the Rio Grande. And the Democrats can't understand it. the optics of this. And, I've got Democrats and even some Republicans coming after me on the El Salvadorian down there who shouldn't be there because the administrator is saying, due process, man. It's the right thing to do. Listen, I understand your due process concerns, and I largely share them, and I'm concerned about the precedents set by this that the Democrats will use. But making an illegal immigrant who now we know there was a court case about beating up his wife, your poster boy for Donald Trump overplayed his hand, is not a smart thing for you to do as a Democrat or someone who hates Donald Trump. You're playing into his hand, and you cannot help yourself. That's what makes it funny.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
If you're somebody who likes going on cruises, you need to be aware of a hot ripoff going on right now with the cruise industry, not the fault of the cruise lines. Criminals are sending out messages to people that are frequent sailors of various cruise line programs and saying, hey, I can't go on my cruise. I'd like to sell it to you. Well, it's an old resale scam